Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing.
We're getting everything straight. We're going to be talking about owning Gaza. Wow, can't believe I'm saying that, but that is what tonight's live stream is going to be about, owning Gaza. I'm sure you know where that's coming from, but nevertheless, we're not making it up. Trump did say it. Taking ownership of Gaza. Wow. Certainly, I'm sure some people are going to advise that cannot be done. But the question or the response to that is going to be obvious. If it can't be done, why the hell did he say it? So, give me a minute. We'll get the live stream going, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And we obviously have more than one topic, but that's certainly going to be the primary topic of discussion. So,
drive Iranian oil exports to zero and diminish the regime's capacity to fund terror throughout the region and throughout the world. We had no threat when I left office. Iran was not able to sell oil. Nobody was buying oil because I said, don't buy it. If you buy it, you're not doing any business with the United States. And Hamas was not being funded. Hezbollah was not being funded. Nobody was being funded. There would never have been an October 7th. 2 weeks ago, I once again designated the Houthis as a terrorist organization. They're trying to destroy world shipping lanes, and that's not going to happen. And over the weekend, I ordered airstrikes against senior ISIS leaders hiding in Somalia, and took them out. Here in America, we've begun the process of...
What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy, Tim, the handsome liberal. Give me a moment to queue up TikTok. We'll start in 3, 2, 1. All right, we're on. What up, folks? Once again, it's your boy, Tim, the handsome liberal. We're going to be talking about President Trump. And I see somebody already in the comments is saying that Trump is a shot caller. I see some validity in that. I think he is a shot caller. That does not mean he always makes the right calls, though. But he certainly has shot caller characteristics. So I'm not going to argue with that. But we're going to be talking about the fact that President Trump stated that we're going to end up owning Gaza, and it's going to be the Riviera of the Middle East. I want to get your opinion on that. From a standpoint of fuck around and find out. We've all heard of FAFO, fuck around and find out, meaning that if you do something that has negative consequences, you're going to fuck around and find out what you did, the consequences of what you did. So I'm going to start out with our first topic by simply asking, do you believe the Muslim community? Now, I mentioned in one of my live streams in Dearborn, Michigan, that county, which is the most heavily populated in terms of Muslims, one of the most heavily Arab populated counties in America. That county went red under the 2024 election. This county had not voted red since 2000. So they had not voted for a Republican for nearly a quarter of a century. Well, in this last presidential election in November, they voted for President Trump. These are the people that were often chanting Free Palestine at Kamala Harris and Joe Biden rallies. Many of them referred to Joe Biden as Genocide Joe. So these are the folks that got rid of Biden and helped replace him with Trump. I brought up fuck around and find out because I want to ask you folks, do you believe the Muslim voters are happy with President Trump as opposed to President Biden? Do you believe the Muslim voters have voters remorse, or do you believe they are happy with President Trump, particularly the ones that were constantly stating that we need to free Palestine? You think they got more of what they would have preferred under Trump than Biden? And I'm asking that question because Trump was on television yesterday sitting besides Benjamin Netanyahu, who is the arch enemy right now of Palestine. And Benjamin Netanyahu said that Trump is the best friend Israel has ever had. So I'm asking, how do you believe, or how do you assume the voters who supported Palestinians feel about their arch enemy suggesting that Trump is the best, literally the best friend that Israel has ever had? That's literally a quote. He said that Trump is the best friend Israel has ever had. So I want to ask you folks that, do you think that the supporters of the Palestinians are happy with Trump as opposed to Biden? So we'll talk about that. Also, second go round, strike two. You know, if you're in a baseball game, softball game, there's only 3 strikes and you're out. Strike two was delivered to President Trump today in regards to his executive order banning birthright citizenship. Many of you folks are aware that he does not want someone that's in the country either illegally or undocumented to be able to give birth with the assumption that their child is automatically an American citizen. So Trump, by way of executive order, not by Congress, but by way of executive order, is attempting to ban birthright citizenship. Well, today a second judge struck down his order. So I'm assuming he's climbing towards the SCOTUS, climbing towards the Supreme Court, trying to get it there, maybe feeling that it might be a bit more safe, more friendly, more of a friendly atmosphere among the Supreme Court. But he got struck down again today. So that's the second court that has struck down Trump's attempts to ban birthright citizenship. Now, I want to ask you folks, simply put, because Trump promised to get rid of the violent immigrants, folks that are graping and unaliving Americans and things like that. Does birthright citizenship fall in line with that? Is it likely that if you are born in America to someone that is here illegally or someone that is undocumented, that you're going to grow up and become a violent felon? How does those two things tie into each other? I want to get your opinion on that, because I was under the impression his main target was violent criminals. Birthright citizenship, are those folks likely to grow up and become violent individuals? Now, I see in the comments, I can't even read the name, ME something, that JC says, yes, they broke the law. You're talking about a baby, a newborn. So if a mother is here illegally and she gives birth to a child while on U.S. soil, your response is that newborn is a criminal? What do you want to do? Put some baby handcuffs on the infant? Pro-life little cutie, you pro-life cutie. What do you say? The baby is a criminal? All right, I'm learning. I'm learning as we go along. Oh, wow. That is funny. All right, and last but not least, I got to ask this question. Now, I think everybody knows that Trump is going, he just, today, by way of executive order, I mean, he's just a executive order machine, but today he passed another one. The goal is to keep transgender women, which is essentially a biologically born male, out of female sports. I think most of America's okay with that. Your host, you know me, I've made it clear I don't believe that, look, I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. If I throw on a wig, there's no way I think I should be able to go and dominate women in their games. So I'm in favor of keeping transgender women out of female sports. I just don't believe it is as serious as Trump has made it sound. Now, we often get the same response anytime I bring this up. Well, one is too many. In a country of 350 million, one of them is too many, all of this crazy stuff. But I'm not a fan of it, but I just do not believe it is significant enough for Trump in his first month of office to be passing laws and holding press conferences and things like that. We'll certainly talk about it. But I'm going to ask this question, simply put, because in addition to keeping biological males out of women's sports, Trump also passed a executive order stating, well, he passed an executive order so you cannot be in the military if you're transgender. And he's also stated America under him will only recognize two genders. So you're either a boy by birth and you're going to remain male for the rest of your life, or you are a female by birth and you're going to remain a female for the rest of your life. Now, a lot of people on the right favor that, I get it, but that does mean that you cannot transition. He is essentially saying, I do not accept your right or your ability or whatever you want to call it to transition. So I'm going to ask the question flat out. It sounds awful, but I'm going to ask this question flat out. Do you believe that President Trump hates the transgender population? Do you believe he hates those who are transgender? Remember, he is saying essentially, I am not even going to recognize your ability to do this. So I'm asking, does he hate the transgender culture? He's passed a series of laws. He's talked about the transgender population. I don't think any of it has been neutral or positive. It's all been negative. So I want to ask you folks, do you believe he hates do you believe he hates the transgender? We'll certainly end up talking about that because folks are saying no, I'm sure. And I'm going to want to know what leads you to say that, because he spoke about transgender a lot. So if he does not hate them, you should have all sorts of information to show why he doesn't hate them. You know how he used to hang around Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson so he can't be racist? Maybe there's some photos of him hanging around some transgender. I do want to hear from that. Now, I see in the comments, Gigi says gaslighting. We use electricity here. We don't gas. We use electricity. We're going to have some fun tonight. Anyways, that is your program. As always, you know, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We are always MAGA friendly, always has been, always will be. If you favor this type of dialogue, you're in the right place. It's all about free speech here. You can be critical of anyone, up to and including yours truly. That's how free speech works. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. Like that type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program. We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, horizontal and vertical, all simultaneously. The callers come in through TikTok, and we take callers in through Instagram. So if you wonder how to call in, that's how you do that. So looking in the comments, we'll start the program off. I do want to, what does it say? I'm in the comments, says I'm 50-50 on most of Trump's policies, but I am loving what the Department of Government Efficiency is doing. Transparency on our taxes. I think there's several folks that are liking what Elon Musk is doing with Doge. It doesn't sound bad to me. I just need to see evidence it's actually happening. Look, if he's finding all kinds of crazy, wasteful spending, fair enough. Get it under control. I'm 100% behind that. But I need two things. First of all, I need to be certain that he's actually doing that and not just saying it. And the other thing is this. I don't care how much wasteful spending you find. If it makes no difference in my life at all, it is of no value to me. Chris, good evening.
What's up, man?
Not much at all. Good to have you on. So I'm going to start out with the toughest one I asked. Trump just passed another executive order today keeping biological males out of female sports. I'm assuming you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with the sports thing, definitely. I'm not sure about the other stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay, so when I asked the question, do you think he hates the transgender community? How do you respond to that?
Well, hate's a strong word. I don't know about hate, but I think he definitely doesn't agree with the lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, personally, I don't agree with the lifestyle. Each to their own, but I wouldn't, like, bash them and stuff like that. It's not like that with me, but just keep it away from me, out of my face and my kids' faces. Other than that, do what you want to do. But
do you support him banning the ability to transition by saying that we're going to recognize your gender that's on your birth certificate of the time you were born for the rest of your life, which means you cannot transition in the eyes of government? Do you support that?
I do.
Okay, so what would be the difference between not liking a lifestyle and hating them?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I get that some folks do not want to use such strong language as you just admitted. You just admitted it's strong language, but I mean, for us not to say it, are we just not saying it because it sounds awful, or are we not saying it because it's not true? So that's what I'm asking. I mean, if he really did hate them, what would be the difference between what he's doing now?
I guess it wouldn't be nothing to him, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And then, you got to ask yourself about the military ban, too. That's a big deal right there.
Yeah. I mean, Trump has spoken in regards to the transgender community quite often. Has any of it been anything other than negative?
Not really.
Yeah. So.
And you know me from before. I'm a big Trump supporter, but I'm also going to call it like it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you do agree, though, that even though you don't want to use the word hate, there's really no definition between what he's doing, or there's no distinction, rather, between what he's doing and maybe somebody that hated him. I mean, I don't expect him to attack one of them on the street, but for the most part, he is doing everything legally against them that he can.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a fine line between. He's not going. Him being a politician now, it's like hard for him to. He's definitely not going to say he hates.
Right, of course. Nobody. I mean, you can go throughout our history where we know things like Jim Crow and racism was in existence. No politician has ever came out and admitted that I hate somebody. Nobody ever does that. But we know it does exist. We just don't call it out, which is why I asked you, like, well, what would he be doing different? I mean, he's kind of he's basically operating out of hate's playbook without admitting his hate, sounds like.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
What do you think about all the other stuff, like the Gaza and all that?
We're certainly talking about that. Now, he claims that we're going to own Gaza. Now, I mean, right off the bat, I think that would be super dangerous. I made a video on YouTube about it and talked to some folks. There probably is no one less welcome in Gaza outside of the Israelis other than the Americans, because as much as the Israelis are their enemy, the Israelis could not have flattened their homeland without the help of America. So I don't see how you could possibly own Gaza without going in there with the military and doing it by force.
Right. Yeah, I seen your alert earlier. I didn't have a chance to read it yet. From my understanding, what he's saying, he wants to have them removed from there, rebuild, and then send them back. I mean, but then they say they don't want to leave, but damn, that place has been tore to hell and back, right?
With our weapons. Yeah, yeah. That's like me coming and handing my boy a backhoe or a dump truck. He runs over your house, and then we're gonna help fix your house. We're gonna put you in a hotel when we tore your shit down. I mean, you think you're not gonna trust me?
That's fucked up, ain't it, Tim?
Yeah, I think that's insane to think that the Palestinians are going to just work with President Trump, like without you Americans. Because remember, they're not seeing the difference between Trump and Biden. They're seeing it as an American action. So we're not going to work with the Americans. They're the ones that tore the place up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I see your point, for sure, right?
So what the hell was he talking about then?
Man, I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with it. He's doing so much shit, cuz it's like a fucking tornado. I don't.
Yeah. But if you had to judge him, now you obviously supported Trump. You think he's doing a pretty good job though for the first almost 3 weeks now?
Yeah, I'm real happy with a lot of stuff he's doing.
Okay.
I don't agree with it's like I want to say I don't agree with the Gaza thing, but then it's like wait and see what happens. But it's fucked up, kind of. I don't know what to really think about that yet. And then the military ban on the transgenders, man. My brother was storming Iraq with the third ID. So as long as you can trust who's beside you in the foxhole, I don't see no damn problem with the transgenders in the military. So although I'm a Trump supporter 100%, I also got heart and feelings for other people too. So I understand both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand totally
I'm
what
not
you're
gonna be
saying.
one of these diehard maggots that's like, well, fuck that. This is the way it is. It ain't like that with me. You know what I mean?
So you're not a fuck your feelings kind of guy.
No, not really. On some things I might be, but for like 90-something%, I'm not like that. No.
Okay. Here's an interesting question. I saw this on the TikTok side of the house. I think the individual was no active user, as his name says. Could you trust Trump in a foxhole? I thought that was kind of funny. How would you respond to that?
Hey, it depends on how he felt that day, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully he thinks you're a 10 and not a 2, because that would make a difference.
That was a good question.
Yeah. So I mean, but if you're happy with the guy, and Elon Musk now demanding federal workers' personal information, you think that's a good idea?
If it's like we're supposed, like what we're being told, if that's true, which you know how that shit is, and he's just trying to find the excessive spending and all that, then, I don't.
Why does he need your home address and social security number, though?
That motherfucker wants my home address. He better send me a fact check, that old bitch.
Well, if you don't give it to him, you're gonna lose your damn job, though.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up, right?
Yeah. Now he's not a citizen. He was not voted in, yet Trump is giving him all this power. I'm only asking this because we know during Trump's first term, he made a lot of bad appointments to his administration. Do you see any possibility that this could go wrong, like really wrong?
I guess we got to give him a chance, time to see.
Yeah.
That's the Trump supporter in me. And then, I guess just give him time, man, because it could go bad or really good. You know what I'm saying? It could go good or really fucking bad.
I don't disagree with that. I got to move it on. But last question I'll ask you before I move it on. Imagine a liberal in there, and instead of Elon Musk, it's Bill Gates or George Soros wanting the same information. What does the Trump supporter in you say?
Be all over it. You know how it is.
Yeah. You would change. What about the whole, well, you got to give them time and see how it goes?
I'd still be like, fuck that shit.
All right, Chris, always a pleasure. Thank you for coming through, man. I know that's how you would feel. I know that's how a lot of folks would feel. That's why I asked you that.
All right, man. We'll see you. Thank you. I'll watch you I'll keep watching you.
Appreciate it. Good talk. Go ahead and drive it out for me, and I'll move it on. Thank you. All right, moving on with the. Go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead and drive. You know how to drive it out?
Hell no, not yet.
No, I'll do it for you. I think I see it where it says remove. There we go. Okay, moving on with the program. Elon is a citizen. Yeah, but does he have any credentials though? Mega Truth is the name there. Does he have any credentials? He's not an elected official. So nobody, remember when Kamala Harris got the VP position and everybody was saying, she just got it and there was no primary and she just got all this power? Well, isn't Elon Musk somewhat in that position? He's not the president, obviously, but Trump is giving him a widespread amount of power. And even Kamala Harris was not asking for folks' personal information. Why is he asking for that? Now, I get folks believe that Elon Musk is simply trying to control, if not curtail, wasteful spending in the federal government. I get that. But do you need people's social security numbers and home phone numbers and birth dates to do that? Do you need all that information? Is it possible that any of that information could fall in the wrong hands? Just asking. Especially considering this guy already owns several businesses in corporate America. Any possibility that some of that could end up going wrong? Anyhow, looking in the comments, he wants to look at his own government contracts and cancel those. Yeah, and see, I don't know. I mentioned this last night. If I'm working in the federal government, I'm sharpening up my resume. I would not want to work under those conditions. I mean, now you got some serious. I mean, how many of you folks ever worked for a boss that micromanaged you? You know what I mean by micromanaging? In other words, you're doing your job as instructed, but they are looking for additional shit outside of what you're just doing. So they're constantly scrutinizing you to see where you might be doing something wrong. Let's say, for instance, you're working from home and you are highly effective at what you're doing. You're just doing it from home. Well, now all of a sudden he wants you to come back to the office. You ever had a job where you could get everything you could fit everything you need to get done in your 8 hours, but the management saw how efficient you were and they started adding more shit on? Micromanaging. This is what I see coming from President Trump, or better yet, Elon Musk in this case, but they seem to be micromanaging federal employees. I don't know if I'd want to work in that environment. I'm just being honest. I've worked for employers that micromanage. I've always said, you could take the easiest job in the world. I don't care if it's watching paint dry. Big dog, yeah! Appreciate the hat mustache. Thank you, big dog. I don't care if you're sitting there watching paint dry, the easiest job in the world. If you got a manager that is micromanaging you, standing there saying you're blinking too much, or you're moving your head too much, or you're not staring at the paint long enough, you can make any job hard if it's being micromanaged. And it sounds like what they're doing with the federal government is they're starting to micromanage employees. Remember, the goal is to cut waste. So that could be anything. Are you gone from your desk too many minutes out of the day when you could be working? Are you leaving things plugged in that is burning electricity, such as maybe charging up your cell phone at your desk and somebody coming up and saying that, well, look, we got 1,000 employees in here. If everyone charges their cell phone at whatever milliwatts that is, when you add it all up, it could be several $1,000s a year. So don't charge your cell phones at your desk. This is how micromanaging works. This is how it works. They find something that's minuscule, and then they inflate it over, well, if everybody does that, it's going to do this or that. You're 30 minutes, you're 30 seconds late from break. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I got 400 employees. If they're all 30 seconds late, that adds up to several minutes a day of work I'm losing. And then you deal with this kind of shit. This is what it sounds like he's doing. Looking in the comments, micromanage, no, they are auditing where money is going to. Well, simple sayings, that's exactly what I said. If you can audit where waste is going and do it in a form of I just gave you perfect examples. Charging your cell phone at your desk, of how that's wasting the taxpayers' electricity by letting federal employees charge their cell phones. If every one of them do it, it's just a small cell phone, but if every employee does this, it's going to cost us thousands of dollars per year. So no one can charge a cell phone. I mean, you can make it pretty horrible if you micromanage it enough. Let me go back to the box. Continuing on with the one and only Top Dog. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Now, I asked a question about the transgender thing, but also I want to know about the ownership of Gaza. Top Dog, good evening.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good. Owning Gaza, why would he say that?
Hey, it looks nice. It'd be a nice golf course out there,
What about what about the Palestinian people?
It's gentrification going on around there, Tim. Yeah, that's what's going on around. That's what I think. I think Trump, he see his land is, we can come over there, we can put up buildings, hotels, and make it, like he said, make it a resort.
So, So colonization 2.0.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And I got Israel right next to me that don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would love for us to be buddy partners, border partners like that. You know what I mean? So
remember when Biden was running and Kamala Harris was running, they would interrupt Kamala Harris rallies talking about free Palestine. They were calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe. And a lot of Muslims, they had Muslims for MAGA or Muslims for Trump, rather. Do you think they have any voters' remorse now?
Oh, yeah. Especially up there in Michigan, up there, they got a town up there where it's like 90%.
Dearborn.
Yeah, yes, sir. That town right there, yeah. Oh, yeah, they up there sick right now.
Wow.
They sick as hell. They ain't going to come out and say it just yet, but yeah, they sick. I would be. They didn't see this one coming.
Well, the thing about it is, even if they're sick and they're not going to come out and say it, well, if you look at how they were heckling Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, you don't need to tell me you're sick. I seen what you really were concerned with, what you really cared about when Kamala and Biden were running. Clearly, this guy ain't doing no better, so I know you must don't like him. I mean, that shit. I think you can put two and two together.
Nah, he don't like him. He don't like him at all.
Wow. So,
Nah.
how do you respond to so many folks who say this would actually be possibly good for the Palestinians if Trump owned the land or whatever the hell he's talking about and fixed it up?
Well, for those people, the people that got a little bit of money, they'll be able to stay around. But the people that that don't have the less fortunate, yeah, he's not doing that for them. He's doing that for the people with the money. He's not doing it for just the average, Palestine, nothing like that, Tim. He's doing that for, people that got money.
So he's not talking about perhaps maybe restoring the place and giving them a place to live and bringing the people back home. Just only wealthy people.
Well-off people, yeah. You got something going on. You know what I mean? I'm not rebuilding this country because you look at those pictures, we see videos. I mean, that's all you can do is rebuild brand new over there.
Yeah,
they destroy
really,
so much stuff. So you can't, you have to come back with brand new everything. So, hey, Trump's a businessman. He see a business opportunity. We can take over that. We got Israel. Right now, he looking at his head, who's going to stop me?
Yeah.
Who stopped me?
That's a good point. And that's the thing I said also. When folks said, look, he's going to fix it up and make a good place for them, I'm like, we've already been running on not giving money to the Ukraine. What would make you think he's just going to give a bunch of money to Gaza? No, we're not going to give them shit. So, yeah, I agree with you. He's a businessman. The only way Trump's going to get involved in that is as if he's profiting.
Yeah, you get a return on his money.
Yeah.
His investment. That's the only way. He's not doing it because he love the people there. Nah, hell nah. He doing it the way they looking at. We can take over this whole land and rebuild it how we want it, make it a resort, make golf courses and shit,
It is like 25. It is like 25 miles of oceanfront property. So
exactly.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Beautiful. They can make it beautiful over there.
Yeah.
Well,
he talked about, for folks who think it is about fixing up the land and giving the Palestinian people someplace to live that's not destroyed, he talked about making it the Riviera of the Middle East. Now, when you look at the financial capabilities of the typical person in Gaza, they can't afford to live in the Riviera of the Middle East. So I think it's pretty obvious what you're saying is probably accurate, that whatever he does to that area, it has no intentions of rehousing the Palestinian people.
Nah. He'll probably make it so hard for him to come back, Tim. You know what I mean? Yeah, it wouldn't be just easy for him to, he'll just make it hard for him. You know what I mean? They can't afford it. So.
Well, the financial requirements would be the hurdle. I mean, if it's the Riviera of the Middle East, so I guess something like a small Dubai or something like that, they can't afford to purchase any land in that. I mean, they would not be able to afford to come back.
No, that's the whole point. We're trying to get rid of them. And Israel, they have no qualms with it. You know what I mean? They pushing for it. So, hey, you never know what's going to happen. He's trying to take over Denmark, the Gulf of Mexico, and he want to make Canada, the next 51st state.
51st state, yeah.
What I want to ask Trump, I want to ask him straight up. Well, how about we make Mexico a state? Let's do that. What you think about that?
Whoa. Well, wait. Yeah. That's the Browning of America. You can't do that.
Right. I'm just saying. Well, what's the difference? They both border countries. What's the difference? We get a lot of stuff from Mexico. So why not? Yeah, we know why he won't do it, Tim. We ain't crazy. Yeah, we already know why he won't do it. You know what I mean? But I would just throw it out there just to see what he say. Well, shit, they're aboard. Let's make Mexico 51 or 52. Shit, what's up?
See, that's why I miss Fox News reporter. I think his name is Peter Doocy or Steve Doocy. He would ask Biden's spokesperson tough questions. What is her name? Janine Pierre or whatever. There's nobody doing it on the Trump side right now, because the question you just asked is a great, not only a gotcha question, but it's worthy of asking. If you're okay with Canada being the 51st state, why aren't you saying that about Mexico? That's a great question.
We know the reason why, but it was just something I would throw it out there.
Yeah, you throw it out there. That's what I'm saying. We know you may know the reason why, or you may have your beliefs as to why he's doing it, but that would be a great question for a reporter to ask him. You keep talking about Canada being the 51st state. Why aren't you saying that about Mexico? And he would have to answer that.
You know why?
I'm
Skin
just
tone.
saying.
Skin tone.
I didn't say it, you did. But in regards to, because I asked a question on the transgender community, he passed a law today keeping transgender women out of, men out of women's sports. So a biologically born male can't transition and play in women's sports. Now, do you agree with that?
I totally 100,000% agree with
Yes,
that. I don't see no problem with that. You know what I mean? I don't think that men should be able to play in girl sports, female sports. I don't. And me and you both know, the world know, that's not even happening. Probably less than 1% in America.
Yeah, it's well under 1%. I don't know anybody that's telling me. Yeah, I don't know anybody that's telling me that they got a child that goes to school and they're competing against transgender athletes. I don't know. I mean, it's happening somewhere out there, but it's kind of one of those things you got to make an effort to go find it. That's not that common.
No, it's not that common, and right now, like the LGBT, especially you just say the transgender, they Trump have no love for them right now. I'm not gonna say he hate them, Tim. He just don't like them. You know what I mean?
So so I'm gonna ask you what I asked my last caller. What would be the difference if he didn't like him versus if he hated him? How could you tell? If you got one guy here who don't like him, you got one guy here that hates him. What's the difference between the two guys?
My opinion, Tim. When I hate you, I think about your ass all goddamn day. How much I hate you. When I like you, I think about you every time I just see you. That's all.
But what do you do when you dislike somebody?
Hey, well, you see what he's doing?
Yeah. So as I said, I don't see any difference between them.
I'm not gonna say. I'm pretty sure he don't like him. You know what I mean? But it just, I don't think he's sitting around all day and think about transgenders either. You know what I mean?
No.
But when he see it, or like when I'm out, when I see a trans, I don't like seeing it. You know what I mean? I don't want my son being around that. You know what I mean? But I don't like it. I wouldn't want them in sports. You know what I mean? I have no problem with them.
Let me ask you this though. In regards to sports, what happens if you let's say for instance every day your kid catches a school bus home? Do you mind if the driver is transgender?
Nah, I ain't worried about that. It is what it is. I don't like it, but I'm not going to snatch my son off the bus and start taking his ass to school and picking him up.
First grade teacher is transgender. Do you have a problem with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do, Tim. Especially at first grade. That's especially now. Yeah, I have a problem with that, Tim.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I feel like kids are impressionable. You know what I mean? So they might see something like that. And a boy might be in class and he like that. He like what he sees. He might make him.
He's the first grader.
Hey, no, Tim. These kids nowadays, Tim, is different. They know what's going on. They see what's going on. These kids are very smart nowadays. Very young. These iPads and internet and iPhones. These advance these kids so fast nowadays. So if he's a first grade teacher, I wouldn't prefer that. Now, would I get on the news and go protest all downtown and shit? No, Tim, I'm not doing all that.
So, okay, I'm trying to figure out why you wouldn't want a transgender teacher around your first grade student. I'm trying to, well, first of all, you do realize sometimes you can be looking at...
Because I'm teaching my son that a boy should not be painting his nails. You see what I'm saying? So
shit, I did a video the first week of NFL because the Bears, Chicago Bears quarterback, Caleb, whatever his name is, he had his fingernails painted. I mean, he's not gay.
No, but see, that's that new generation. And this is me, Tim. I'm 40 years old. I'm 80s baby. That's that new generation bullshit. When I was coming up, Tim, I don't give a damn. You're not painting your damn nails. I don't give a damn what you.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have you ever had an earring in any of your ears?
I always had just one. I never had two, Tim.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why I asked that. When I remember being a young man, two people I saw with an earring first. One was Tubbs of Miami Vice, the black guy. It was Crockett and Tubbs. Right. Tubbs had an earring in his ear, and so did George Michael of Wham. During that era, people said the same thing. I don't like this new age bullshit. Now, men with earrings in their ear, that was new age bullshit. They didn't like it. You just sound like you're getting old. That's what
I mean, it might be what it is. Just my generation different. Boys didn't paint their nails. That's not what I seen. That's not, to me, that's not okay.
Right. And your parents would have said boys don't put earrings in their ear.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You know,
So you just getting old. That's what it is.
I mean,
you
that's
just
why
getting
I'm
old.
going, you know what I mean? So that just, when it comes to that stuff right there, when it comes to boys, you know, I don't feel my son need to be around that type of stuff. Okay. You know, as a father, I'm keeping you away from all that transgender stuff. You don't need to be around there, you know, first, second, third, fifth grade. You don't need to be around that.
So you believe it? You believe it could have an effect on the kid then?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, especially if they know this is if a child know or a parent. See, you said like Tim, a 1 year a first grader, he wouldn't know. Yeah, you know some families they got kids listen to the parents talk, so they kid gonna know. Okay, well damn, mama and daddy said that's a man up there, but his nails is painted. He got.
You're breaking up. Can you hear me? You're breaking up, Top Dog. I don't know if he had a call or not. Okay, I mean he must have a call. I'm gonna have to move it on. I wanted to ask him some more questions on that. That was interesting. Now, tap the screen, by the way. Get the likes on up to about 20,000. We can certainly make that happen. I do want to respond to a couple super chats. Thank you. Jay Aviation says, ask the Venezuelans how they feel about Trump. The Venezuelans don't like America. It ain't just specifically Trump. We've had serious, with emphasis on serious sanctions on the Venezuelan government ever since Hugo Chavez died. I think in 2013. I think he died in 2013. For the most part, any government that does not play ball with the United States, we tend to punish them. And the Venezuelans are one of those governments. So they don't have any love for Americans. So when you say ask them how they feel about Trump, they probably didn't give a damn about Biden, Obama, Bush, any of them. And right now, the Venezuelans have a government in place that America does not recognize. We don't believe that the guy who is in power is a duly elected official, that he stole the election or whatever. So the Venezuelans do not like America, and it goes beyond Trump. But with Trump in the deportation process, I'm sure that ain't making it better. I'm sure that is not making it better now that America is purging everything that speaks Spanish. That ain't making it any better. Free P. J. Aviation. Free P. Diddy. Make freak-offs great again. I think I heard that P. Diddy had to be rushed to the hospital. He had something happened to him in there. I don't think he got the Derek Chauvin treatment, the guy who took out George Floyd. He got somebody really wanted to talk to him, so they kind of poked on him a little bit. I don't think P. Diddy got that kind of a treatment, but he was rushed to the hospital, I heard the other day. And I see that J. Aviation, you on some P. Diddy shit. He says P. Diddy 2028. That ain't gonna happen. I don't think P. Diddy is likely to be free anytime soon. It certainly won't be by 2028. Tire Swing, one hell of a name there. What he's not saying is he's scared his son will be gay. Could be. I don't listen. I tend to consider myself an ally of the community, of the LGBTQIA plus community, whatever you want to call it. I don't buy into it. Although I'm against transgender males being in female sports. I do believe that's wrong because you're dominating people. You can hurt people doing that. But I don't buy into the notion that if you are gay, you're going to change a child gay. So me and the last caller would probably disagree on that. I know there's a hell of a lot of men, alpha men on both sides of the aisle that probably disagree with what I'm about to say here, and that's fine. But I knew from probably the age 4, if I can think, I think as far back as I can remember, I knew from the age of about 4, I liked titties. I don't care how many dicks you showing me. I'm going to still want titties. Even if you put me on an island full of dicks, I'm going to want titties. So I don't care how many gay dudes you put me around. You weren't going to, I don't buy into the notion that if you put a straight person around gay people, they're going to turn gay. I can understand the bullshit gay for the stay that they do while they're incarcerated. But the minute they get back out, they go right back to what they want. They just bending. They're just turning into mutants. But I don't believe that you turn people into anything that they are not by simply having it around them. If they are able to turn, chances are that was kind of in them already. That's my opinion. Like I said, I know a lot of folks believe otherwise, but I don't believe that putting a straight man around gay people is going to, just like putting a gay person around straight people don't often turn them either. I mean, you like what you like. I mean, it's as simple as that. You like what you like. Looking in the comments, though, He's not programming its evolution, which they don't believe in. I'll leave it at that. Some people do not believe in that. Religion certainly plays a part in that. Pray it out of your child and things like that. Religion definitely is not a big fan of the LGBTQIA community. Continuing on with the program, though. Hoodlum. That's a hell of a name. Good evening. Welcome to the show, Hoodlum. Now, Hoodlum, I'm going to ask you, as a male yourself, do you disagree with what I said? Where if you have a child that is straight around someone that is gay, it increases the likelihood of that child being gay?
It depends on what age you're talking about, because I think that, looking back to 5th grade, let's say, and younger, I think that when somebody has the perspective of ooh girls and girls have a perspective of ooh boys, they're still in the identity zone of who
but
they
I never heard a guy say ooh girls and say yum boys. If he don't think girls are hot, he ain't gonna think dudes are either.
Yeah, but you are somewhat a reflection of your surroundings, and I think that the transgender perspective is up 400% because it's part of the conversation. I don't think it should be part of the conversation before like the grade of like 7th or 8th. Mm-hmm. I think that more of a family dynamics conversation should be involved, because maybe somebody lives with their grandma, maybe somebody lives with 2 dads or 2 moms or whatever. I don't have a problem with the family dynamics conversation, but I do have a problem with California passing the 1955 law, which states that the school does not need to notify the parents that the student, i.e. somebody's kid, had a conversation about transgender. And as of right now, that is the law. We have counties and cities like Huntington Beach and others that are stated that they aren't going to abide by that law. But you have the utopia of California and the Democrat perspective trying to, in my opinion, replace the parent role in.
But here's my point on which, and I've heard that, and that it doesn't sound right on its face that if the kid is talking about being transgender, the parent should be in on the conversation. But I will say this: if I'm a teacher and I got a child that is talking about being transgender or gay or part of the LGBTQ community, and they're saying, "Don't tell my family," that reflects poorly on the kid's family. That he or she feels more comfortable coming out to me than their mom or dad at home. That shows that their mom and dad do not have that type of a decent relationship with their kid. That this kid is afraid of being honest with you. I don't know. So I agree with what you're saying, but I think we need to look at the parent when the kid is telling you ahead of time that I don't trust my own parents.
Sure, no, I agree with you on that as well. I think that just as a whole, the left progressive perspective is community-based raising of children, mm-hmm. and it is my perspective that it's family-based raising of children. Like I don't mind my family getting involved with raising of my children, but I definitely don't want the community as like civic represented teachers, anyone like that.
Was how I hear what you're saying, but that's how we were brought up. When I came up in the 70s and 80s, if I got out of line, my teacher could kick my ass with a ruler. My neighbors could whoop my ass. They would tell my parents, but we talk about community raising a kid. If any of my neighbors saw me doing wrong, they could potentially whoop my ass or tell my parents. I mean, the community raised us back then. And I think it was a better crop of kids coming out.
Well, I mean, you're talking about corporal punishment with accountability.
That's part of raising. That's part of getting raised.
Yeah. So my parenting style is, I got a call from the school the other day, and they said that my son was hit with a ball, and I'm like, put him on the phone. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, hey, Dad. I go, are you seeing stars? He's like, no. I'm like, you're good.
Yeah, see that's the difference. Back in our day, ain't nobody bothering nobody. You got hit by a ball. Sit down for a minute, get back up in the next inning. Ain't nobody trying to call your parents or no bullshit like that. You'll be all right. So the fact that they called you shows you how different things have gotten.
Yeah, but I think that also involves parents being involved, because I've basically had conversations with the school, put them on notice that I am involved, and so it goes back a lot to parents too. But hey, real quick, I wanted to get on the topic of Gaza in the conversation that
sure.
kind of
before you do, I want to read a comment from Damien. He says the first pair of titties I saw was in a movie called Humanoids from the Deep. My old man had it. Betamax video. Back in the day, we all had somebody's house you could go over who got in contact with their older brother or their dad's stash in terms of Betamax or VHS adult tapes. That was the first time I saw a pair of titties, as he says. Is one of my boys got into his dad's stash, and we all in the basement watching an adult movie. Like, wow, so. But we all had a different type. But go ahead. What are you talking about Gaza?
Yeah, so I think one of the historical perspective that not a lot of people are discussing is the fact that the countries and or territories that Trump is talking about is of the old world, England and the Dutch empires. And so what you really have to maybe think about is the concept that those empires no longer have the authority or those territories. And you look at the crown and the dissolution of the crown and what has gone on with the Queen and the passing and Charles, whatnot. You really kind of have to look at the kind of conversation that Trump is talking about, and it puts it a little bit different perspective, especially when it comes to the mandate with Israel, with the Rothschilds and Gaza and so on. Maybe these territories are available, and it's just not being discussed publicly.
So maybe Gaza is available to be owned?
Yeah, that's correct.
And where do the Palestinians fit in this conversation? Because you notice it's him and Netanyahu sitting there. Ain't nobody representing the Palestinians up there while he's saying that.
Yeah, and it's a tragedy. They have been persecuted for decades, centuries. Unfortunately, that whole area has been conquered several times by many different empires. And what you have is a broken social construct of their identity, and I think that their survival is what they're trying to hold on to. I wouldn't be opposed to going in there and taking ownership, rebuilding it, and giving them something that would reflect maybe like the Indians and the reservation perspective.
Like teepees?
Yeah, reservation.
You go blow up stone and brick buildings and replace that shit with teepees. Haven't been tents.
No, not teepees. I'm talking about like their own sovereignty within designated area, and then we take the rest.
Oh, so you talking about?
And I'm gonna.
They don't have a lot of land there, Hoodlum. I mean, they don't have much for you to take. I mean, it's only like 25 miles long with like 2 million people packed into that little area, and you want to take some of that?
Well, I think that it would be no different than what the Israelites did in the after the war.
That's why they don't like the Israelis. That's why they don't like them now if they've done that stuff.
Hold on. But wait a minute. I mean, who gave the authority to the Rothschilds? It would be the crown, right? Okay, so what's the difference?
They don't want you to compress their land and use some excuse, whether it's the Rothschilds or something in the past for why you're doing it. They don't have much space as it is. And you're talking about taking more land?
No, I think that, do you think that they can rebuild that land after what has happened to it?
They need help.
Do you think that they have...
They need some help. Yeah, but I think they would rather live among the rubble than have somebody like Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu come along, turn it into the next Taj Mahal and kick them out and put them out in the desert somewhere. I don't think they want that.
if you leave it the way that it is and let them wallow in that, the only thing that you're going to breed is discontent and more terrorism, and that is just not going to work.
I'm for the two-state solution, but it has to be done with somebody else intervening other than the United States. For good reason, they have no reason to trust Trump, Biden, or anybody representing the United States. So when he says he's going to own it and do all this great stuff for the Palestinian people, to hell with that. I can understand why they would not trust America for a damn thing, because the only reason their country is destroyed is America handed Israel the weapons. What I think needs to happen is they need to get somebody somebody that will work with both the Palestinians that they kind of trust and America and Israel trust. Maybe the Saudis or somebody like that. So two-state solution, but maybe about a mile of a dead zone between Gaza and between Israel. So the shape of Gaza, imagine that line that is the borderline. Expand that by a mile, and that'll be the patrols that the Saudis or some other nation that both sides trust will be in the middle of that. So that'll prevent something like October. But you got to give them their own land. They're not going to trust the Israelis. They're not going to trust the Americans. They have a reason not to.
Well, I'm not a big Clinton fan, but Bill Clinton and Arafat
Arafat, yeah, Yasser Arafat.
Arafat. They had the Camp David meetings, and they got probably the closest to at any point in time coming to a two-state solution. And for whatever reason, Arafat fucked it up and didn't agree to it. I think that would have been the best thing for them to do. And unfortunately, from there on out, I don't think that you really had any substances of a conversation to bring them to.
I think when we talk about a two-state solution, first of all, these people need freedom. They don't have passports. They are essentially stateless citizens. So they're like citizens that do not officially belong to any country. They don't have any passports. They don't have any right to fly out of Gaza. Everything they do, they have to ask the Israelis for permission. That's got to end. And it was like that before October 7th. That they can't go fishing in their own waterways without permission from the Israelis. All of their power and utilities come by way of the Israelis. So they essentially are dependent on the Israelis, who are treating them as less than equal, which is what led up to October 7th. That's got to end. For them to have peace, you got to let those folks be treated like regular human beings, not like they're subservient to the Israelis. As long as that exists, you're going to have October 7th occasionally happening all the time, because they are not free.
But they do have to own a little bit of responsibility to voting in the people that they voted in to represent them, which did horrific things. And I think that, to argue both perspectives here, I do believe that we have the right to defend ourselves. Israel has the right to defend themselves. I don't think the response was appropriate for the action. But I don't believe that Israel had the ability to do like a Fallujah style building to building. And so,
but you're talking about the response. Yeah, but you're talking about the response after October 6th. You're not talking about how bad they were getting treated before that happened. I mean, the Palestinians have been being brutally controlled by the Israelis, which is what led them to act that way. I mean, you're controlling everything from their utilities to their phone companies to their water production. The Israelis control everything for those people.
Yeah, and how did that come to be? It came to be after World War II, right? And,
it should have never happened. It should have never happened.
I don't think that the Rothschilds should have been given the authority to do what they did. That's just my perspective. I think that ultimately, looking back at history, it could be perceived as somewhat of a mistake. But we are where we are, and it is what it is, as my mom would say. Mm-hmm. And I think that if what everyone has talked about up to this point hasn't worked, I don't think Trump said that this is my plan. He said that it was an idea that he was talking about.
I get what they're not going to trust Trump. They're not going to trust any American leader. I mean, we haven't done anything that would be worthy of the Palestinians trusting us. They're not going to. I don't care what Trump is promising them. I mean, and not to mention, we seen what America done with the Iran deal. We seen what America under Trump is trying to do to NATO. What he did to the Paris Accord. Why the hell would you believe him? I mean, the guy is literally running on a campaign of breaking deals. Why the hell would they trust Trump?
Well, what I'm going to say next might be somewhat controversial, and that is that it is of the upside down world where left is right and right is left, of this get along to go along, and I'm going to scratch your back and you're going to scratch mine, where nobody says nothing about what you do because I don't want you to tell anyone about what I'm doing.
Okay.
Those days are over. That is why we have Doge, and this is why we're not supporting some councils in the UN. This is why we got out of the WHO, because these organizations are not reflecting what is in our best interest, and they are not playing nice on the playground at our expense.
Right. But I'm saying if I'm the Palestinians, I'm not going to make a deal with America when I see the president saying, well, that don't work for me, so I'm out of that. I don't like how that went, so I'm out of that. I'm not going to trust that guy. I mean, that's all he is doing is breaking deals. Whether, like I said, whether it's NAFTA, the Paris Accord, what else is he broken? The Iran deal. I mean, every other week he's talking about breaking something. Why would you make a deal with that dude?
Well, I guess that would be one of the faults of having a president every 4 years rather than in some other countries. You have a consistency, whereas in the United States, you have an agenda that changes every 4 years.
But that shouldn't be. That's if I make a deal. I always use the auto dealer example. Let's say you go and purchase a Cadillac at a dealership, and the guy sells you the Cadillac for $6,000-7,000 below the sticker price. You got a great deal. All of a sudden, the owner of the dealership, comes to your house and says, "Look, that was my brother that was working yesterday. I was sick. That deal he made with you is bullshit. I want my car back. I'm not going to honor it." Would you ever do business with that dealership again?
No.
That's what Trump is doing. He's basically saying, when Obama was in office, that was my brother. He was sick. I don't like that deal. I'm undoing it. Once you put your name on the dotted line, you got to honor that. You don't get it. You don't come up and say, well, the last guy, he didn't know what he was doing, so we're going to break this deal. Why would you make a deal with Trump knowing that the next guy may say the same thing about the deal you're making with him?
Okay, well, that kind of is a segue to the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and that is this. When you look at some of the items that were being funded through the USAID, okay, it is clearly a progressive, LGBTQIA plus type agenda that was being promoted financially across the globe, and in many cases working against local governments. And that isn't per se what is best for American security, American interests. That is an ideologue being pushed by the Democrats.
I don't buy that. Let me tell you why. I understand what you're saying. I don't buy the U.S. aid thing that Elon Musk is working on. He's finding all these wasteful areas of spending that sound like progressive ideas. I'll tell you why I don't buy it. Because if there are areas that are questionable that are being spent for conservative causes, he just ain't gonna tell you about that stuff. Like, for instance, putting Bibles in Oklahoma schools that are Trump Bibles, that's wasteful spending. Elon ain't gonna say nothing about that. So I get that it sounds like a bunch of wasteful progressive causes. That's because they're not gonna tell you about any of the conservative ones. So I don't buy that he's being 100% transparent.
No, I don't think that's true. I think that
How do you know?
What Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, stated was that as a congressman, we have been trying to get the USAID transparency for many, many years now, and they act like they have no accountability to us and would never respond and never ever would entertain coming and sitting before us, because they acted like they were a nonprofit themselves spending their own money, whereas they were actually spending taxpayer dollars. And so this rolling it up to the State Department, giving it some accountability, so whereas they cannot just quote unquote do whatever the hell they feel like it, and if you don't like it, go pound sand perspective, then I think that that's the best thing.
Yeah,
that's going to come
I'm not arguing with any of that, but what I'm saying is you're finding all of these different areas of wasteful spending in America, and none of them are conservative, and we're supposed to believe that the conservatives don't waste a dime. It's all progressive causes. Not one thing you're coming up with is conservative. We're supposed to believe that.
I think that the Democrats are so outraged because we just closed the can.
You didn't answer my question, though. The conservatives are not wasting any money at all? You can't find anything at all that they're doing.
I would say that based upon the fact that leadership within the USAID tried to physically prevent Doge from doing their job in an obstructionist acts, I would lead to say that they were quite progressive in their position. And
so not one conservative cause is out there that's wasteful. The conservatives are that fiscally responsible. Not one thing you can find, and you believe that.
I don't think that it's going to be nearly as prominent as
not one thing at all. Not one thing.
There might be one thing.
I haven't heard it. The fact is, you can't come up with it. I haven't heard anything. It's 100%. It's 100% liberal, progressive stuff. 100%.
Well, I think that being that we're talking about transparency, I think that they should release all of this NGO, this organization, that organization back into the pockets of the politician. I think that we should publicly release this information and let the people decide. That's what transparency is.
And that would be true transparency, but they're not going to do that because the goal is to attack the liberals. And if they're spending on causes they favor, they're not going to, like, let's say, for instance, they're spending money to try to find out if transgender people being around kids is harmful to the kids. They're not going to tell you they're doing that until they come out with some valuable research. If they don't come out with any research at all, they're not going to tell you they spend money on that. They're not going to tell you if they found out that putting Bibles in schools or doing research about is it good to put Bibles in schools. We don't know any conservative causes they're working on because they're only pointing out liberal stuff. That's not accurate, and that's not being transparent. That is not being transparent. I got to move it on, though. I appreciate you coming through. I'll give you the last word.
Hey, Handsome, thanks for having me up. It's always a good time, and it was a good talk.
Hoodlum, thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on with the program. And like I said, I'm okay with being transparent. I don't think that's what we're seeing right now. And I see in the comments, someone said, okay, well, let's just do half of it then. Not if you're going to be blaming, not if you're going to make it sound like all of the waste is on the liberal side. No, you don't do half of it like that. And then you claim it, well, we're being transparent. No, you're not being transparent. You're being biased. I don't believe that for instance, you talk about wasteful spending. How much money is being wasted going after the January 6th prosecutors? You know they wasted money on that. There's plenty of conservative waste going on. They just ain't telling you about it. They're only going at the liberal, progressive waste. That's not transparent. That's in the comments. I can't pronounce the name, but he says he or she says being deceptive. That's what it is. We're only going to find liberal causes, and we're going to tell everybody, see how wasteful the liberals are. There's plenty of waste on the conservative side. I guarantee military causes. Think about the things that the Republicans stand for, the principles. Like I said, religion. There's waste in all of that shit. I guarantee there's waste in all of that shit. And they're just not going to tell you about it. So Elon Musk is not being transparent, in my opinion. Looking in the comments, the fact is he's found all of this shit, and none of it is conservative. That should tell you everything you need to know, unless you believe the Republicans are fiscally perfect. That's the only thing that would make sense is they're fiscally perfect. And we know that ain't true. And what world is creating for the little baby girls of tomorrow that it is okay to tell your Newton? Wait a minute. What are you saying there, Ashan? And what world is creating for the little baby girls of tomorrow that it is okay to sell your nudeness in any way? It's an equal male-female opportunity to turn from wicked ways to tomorrow. You know how long women been selling pussy? Are you kidding me? I mean, the first lady sold her nudeness, if you want to refer to that. The first lady that we currently have in the White House sold her nudeness. So start there. You waste too much time in the earthly terms. Get with God as independent. Well, I got a lot of Christians coming through. Going to the box. King Finn. Good evening, King.
Boy, you know. I got to get in your ass now, right? I got to get in your ass.
We already talking about LGBT. We already talking about LGBT issues. Now you're talking about getting in my ass. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I sure am. I've been sitting here listening to your show for 3 days, and all I keep hearing is ignorant ass people come up and say the same bullshit talking points that they hear on Fox every single day. You want to be transparent? Who the hell is Doge? And who told you these kids, these 19-year-old to 27-year-old kids, is the best thing for our damn Social Security numbers, our information, our pensions, our fucking tax funds? Are you kidding me about transparency? Now then, a damn Trumper better open his mouth about shit transparent, because he ain't been transparent since the damn start. And shit Trump done ever said that was transparent. And I named one of them as being transparent about what the hell is the reason that these kids, these under 30 kids, should have our damn personal information. Who the hell are they? That's the beginning where I want to go.
Yeah, you
they?
gets no argument from me on that, because I'm the same way. Like, I don't see why he needs all this personal information.
Let's go here. You said about Gaza. Are you kidding me? You're going to hear this, are you kidding me, a lot. Are you kidding me? So we're going to play like we didn't know that the Palestinians, unfortunately, I'm going to say it like this, it's going to sound bad. We didn't know that the Palestinians were being oppressed by Israel. Was October 7th messed up? Hell yeah, it was messed up. But who committed October 7th? Was it all of the Palestinians? No, it wasn't. It was Hamas. Was it all of the Palestinians who did anything like that? No. Now you done locked these folks into Gaza, and you done burnt down Gaza, which is messed up, because I still don't agree with Biden giving them guns. I think there should have been Bill Clinton and Obama should went and smoked a blunt with Netanyahu and them boys over there.
Do you think now, though, because you're right, Biden gave most of the weapons that were used to destroy Gaza came from Biden. But they were calling them genocide, Joe. They didn't like Kamala Harris. They were yelling "Free Palestine" at her rallies. Do you think they're happier now that Trump is in there?
No, because if you really think Trump's going to do anything other than what he just said, basically go strong arm and colonize Gaza City and turn into the white redneck Riviera, I don't know. I don't know what you think, because he's not going to do anything. But exactly, that's the one thing he's being transparent on. He's going to go over there, strong arm Gaza, take it away from the Israelis, kick out the Palestinians, and turn it into the Riviera. Yeah. That he's being 100% transparent right there with that. That's it.
Yeah. And I would like what I was telling my last caller, because a lot of folks have been saying the Palestinians should view this as possibly a good thing, that Trump's going to come and rebuild their country and give them infrastructure back. And my response is, I don't see why any Palestinian would trust any leader of America at this point.
Shit, I wouldn't either. Yeah. Unfortunately, like I've been telling you for a long time, this is the reason why other countries hate us. This is the reason why you have people who do stuff like putting planes through buildings and stuff. That's why you have this, because America go around with its whiteness, colonize shit, fuck shit up, say they gonna fix it, never do what they say they gonna do, and they do not hold their damn word. We ain't held our damn word for nothing. All we keep doing is running around messing up shit and thinking we doing something and then saying somebody else did it. That's why we look so damn bad.
Well, he could be expanding the size of the United States in this process, though.
I don't want no expanded size of the damn United States. I want somebody that knows how to run the damn country. Didn't he go up? Ain't all of you Trumpers, all y'all Trumpers is full of shit anyway. The first thing this motherfucker said was, America first. Well, it damn sure don't sound like he using America, like he doing America first now. Where the hell is America in Gaza?
That's a good point.
Where's America at?
That's a good point.
Your eggs ain't went down. Your gas is still up. I got gas the other day. 2 days ago, it was $2.85. Gas right now is $3.19 where I'm at. Don't look like my damn gas price went down. Ain't no. Are we drilling yet? Where's the manufacturing jobs he said was coming back? Why is Canada taking all of the damn the liquor from the red states off of their shelves? Why are they talking about cutting off the power in Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Minnesota? Why are they talking about doing all of that shit?
I believe this is the
Opening
part.
your fat ass orange mouth.
I believe this is the
This
part
is
where
why.
I believe this is the part where many refer to it as cooking. But keep going.
I'm just saying. Why are we telling you were so a bill of goods? It was a lie. That's why the most trending hashtag right now is hashtag leaving MAGA. Because you idiots are starting to you fucked around and you starting to find out that you done fucked up.
Do you think there's that much voters remorse? I mean, most folks I talk to still believe that Trump is doing a great job. You think there's that many people that have voters remorse right now this early in the game?
I don't know. Seeing for the fact that a day after the vote took place, the most trending search on Google is how do I change my vote? I would have to say, yeah. There are a lot of people that's going to start feeling it. Where are all the farmers at? Talking about they going, Trump going to help them out. They going to help them get their stuff in, right? Get all the peas and the sweet potatoes. They going to get all the sweet potatoes, all put up because them mass deportation, that took away all them workers. So I guess these must be going to be them black jobs he was talking about, right?
Wow.
The black jobs. I heard one white dude on here the other day say he was gonna go do a job, but he didn't have no job, and he was professing that he was an economic. He knew what he was talking about with the economy. No shit. It's another damn dummy opening your mouth on here.
Well, but I mean, keep in mind, as much as you're talking about Trump, many would say the only reason he's in there is because Biden sucked so much.
Yeah, you can say what you want.
Well, you tell me, do you think Biden was doing a good job?
You know what? Biden wasn't doing the greatest job, no. But look what he had to pull it. Look what he had to use as bootstraps. What did he have to use as bootstraps?
You can't.
When
Biden
got in office.
When you look at what got Trump into office, the economy, the border, and LGBTQ shit, which I have no clue why, but out of those three things, the economy, the border, and LGBTQ shit, he had more control over the LGBTQ stuff than he orchestrated. He could have done more to satisfy the people, and he certainly could have done more with the border. So 2 out of 3 of those things he let the people down on.
We still talking about Biden, or are we talking about Trump?
We talking about Biden.
You saying Trump had control of all that?
We talking about Biden.
Did, but what would have happened? I say it's the same thing. I'm gonna kick to you to say what you can say that with those 3 things. I give you that. He did. You're 100% right. He did. What would have happened if Obama would have went straight black rights and did all of that shit for black people that everybody wanted them to do?
They would have called him a racist.
What do you think they would have came for his motherfucking head, wouldn't they? So what do you think they would have done if Biden would have did everything he possibly could do to help LGBTQIA people? I mean, hell, look, he did the infrastructure bill. He dropped medicines. He kicked back to colleges.
King, that doesn't. No, I can't let you get away with that. Folks made it clear that they didn't like the border being open. Biden told folks, him and Kamala Harris, that the border was under control. He let the people down on the border. You can't really blame that on nobody else but Biden.
I don't see it as that. I don't see it as he let.
America saw it that way.
Was he perfect? Okay, America can see it that way. America should have been looking in the past almost 30 years. Because if you really want to know true, the last 4 years are not the only 4 years that the damn border was a problem.
No, I'm just simply saying.
Immigration has always been messed up.
Yeah, but
Are you serious?
Yeah, but when you're the president of the country and people are complaining about something that's happening under your watch, bringing up, well, this has always been a problem, ain't gonna save you.
No, it's not. And there's some things that he can and can't do. And unfortunately, one of the things he couldn't magically fix was immigration. It's been a problem.
All of the stuff.
All of your senators know that.
He couldn't do what Trump is doing, which is if you don't have a legal right to be here, you got to go. He couldn't do that.
Wait, so you expected him to do what Trump is doing now, the largest mass deportation in history?
No, if he had not let so many people in here seeking asylum, you wouldn't have as many people to deport. I mean, he's the reason why there's so many people to deport.
This is what behooves me about you and other people who bring up that idea. Let's go here again. What does it say on Ellis Island?
Oh, come on. Bring us your territory report. What are you getting at?
Okay, so we're going here again. It says that on Ellis Island, this is a country of America, of immigrants, so-called the melting pot of America, the melting pot of the world. If we're going to continue to let people in for their smarts, for their talents, then why is it okay? It's going to be a problem if they're Mexican. You can come in if you're Chinese because you're going to build something we can take some money from. But we can't save these folks. We can't help these folks get in after we caused problems in Venezuela, after we went down there and destabilized their damn country.
I think the issue...
We ain't going to help these Mexicans. We're not going to help these Mexicans, but we've been dealing drugs since I ran Contra with these people, making these drug lords, making these people the damn cartels.
How do you respond? America Great Again in the comments made 3 simple words. He says, do it right. We're willing to let people in like the Statue of Liberty says, but how about coming legally? Is that wrong to ask that?
Man, do it right my ass. Then tell them to do the deportation the right way. Go target and look for the people who are actually MS-13 criminals instead of going to churches and damn high schools and grabbing these kids and their parents up out the damn school and sending them on a damn bus, messing up people's lives, messing up people's jobs. Why you talking about do it the right way? Do it the right way themselves. Do it the right way without having to have some little boy bent over in somebody's back room while you sitting there talking about some man jumped up and hyped up on some damn in some wigs reading a damn book. Do it the right way yourself.
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to the hundreds of times that Republicans have been blown out. They quickly find some information about Matt Gaetz, them little girls. Where's Matt Gaetz?
Okay. Where's
Matt Gaetz?
I don't know.
They finding all this information about these people. Do it the right way yourself. While you talking about Pizzagate and the Clintons eating kids. Do it the right way yourself. Do it the right way yourself.
But I gotta ask you, King. Do you really think
detriment?
Do you really think Biden did the best he could on the border?
Man, I think he did the best he could. Period. As a president,
Really?
when you look into these guys' eyes, look at the last 45 presidents. I tell you, look at Obama. Remember when Obama first went into office? What did he look like? A sprawling young black man, didn't he?
I get all of that, but you really think that Biden
didn't look as old as he did?
I get all of that, King, but I mean, not only did Biden fail according to a lot of Americans at the border, a lot of folks are not happy that he tried to hide his cognitive decline. You don't see no issues with any of this?
Cognitive decline? Are we seriously gonna go there?
Did you not see the debate?
We can definitely go to debate. Yeah, did he do his strongest on the debate? No, he didn't.
Strongest? He's talking about a subject. Wait. You said that he do his strongest. He's talking about topics that he's not even being asked.
You're making it seem like he jumped up there and pulled a Trump rally, where Trump runs out there and talks about the same damn 3 subjects that he talked about, and then slurs his words for half a second or half an hour, and everybody yells out, "Trump, Trump, Trump." That's not what happened, dog. He slurred his words a couple times.
He didn't slur his words. He responded to a question that he wasn't even asked.
Yeah, okay. Maybe it is cognitive degeneration. I don't know what it was, but I know damn well it wasn't no Trump, baby. It wasn't Trump's.
I don't know. I think you're in denial about Biden, though. I don't
think I am, dog.
You don't think? Do you think Biden was in cognitive decline? Do you think Biden was in cognitive decline?
I'm in denial No, I don't. I don't think he was in it. I don't think maybe he is, but I don't think it's as bad as y'all think it is. Y'all all are crucifying him for messing up a word.
Let me clear it up. Do you believe Biden, as he was attempting to do, could run another 4 years? You think he could operate this country for another 4 more years? So he was running, telling us he could.
Do I think he could?
Yes.
Actually, yeah, I think he could, because Biden will be able to listen to his advisors.
Okay.
Even if you want to pull the Biden is a puppet, he would have been sitting there with a hand up his ass. He would still be listening to his advisors, and I still don't think we'd have half the problems that we have in day 18 right now? We got 5. Wait, how many planes have fallen from the sky? How many planes have fallen from the sky?
Wow, quite a bit, actually. Quite a bit.
Right.
We had 2 back to back.
Biden and Obama was in office?
No.
Was planes just falling out the sky?
No, you got a point. But you think Biden could do from age 82 to 86? You think Biden would have been able to do that?
I would give him a chance to do it, because I know he'd be listening to his advisors. He'd have a panel of people around him, which is the cabinet, which is what the cabinet is supposed to be. And it would be a panel of people around him who knew their jobs, who knew how to do their jobs, who have been trained, taught, have the experience of doing their jobs. Not a bunch of yes men sitting around parroting the same messed up Fox talking points.
All right, King. As always, it's such a pleasure. Thank you, man.
Peace.
Good talk. All right, moving on with the programming. King always gives it to me straight. Listen, me and him don't always agree, and he makes it known when he does not. He's always welcome on the program. That's how free speech works. You don't have to agree with the damn host. Understand that. Left, right, center, we do believe in free speech. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 30,000. Can we have that happen? Let your thumbs not be lazy. If you do enjoy this type of dialogue, all sides of the aisle, left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q, feel free to follow the program on TikTok and Instagram. Subscription on YouTube, if you will. Looking in the comments, I saw that Dennis Calhoun said he wants a king. You're talking about my other caller. By way of yes or no, I think I've asked this before, but by way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks think that Trump's going to try to pull off a 3rd term? Or better yet, how many of you folks would be okay with it? Maybe you think he's run the country so well that you'd be okay if he was the president for the rest of your life. Because hell, why roll the dice again? He's doing a good job at it. I've had somebody tell me that already. He's done such a good job. I'm okay with him being around from now on. I've actually heard somebody say that. 100% okay with a 3rd term, says Gen X. Yeah, there you go. He's not going to pull a 3rd term. That's ridiculous. It ain't ridiculous. I hope you're right about him not pulling a 3rd term. You are wrong about it being ridiculous, because there's already a congressman from Tennessee that's already tried to get the legislation rolling. So, no, there's already people in Washington working on it. Looking in the comments, Will G says Trump ain't shit, the flip-flopper toddler-in-chief. At it again, blurting bullshit out, and MAGA trying to cover his behind the don't take him too seriously. Well, my analysis is that no matter what Trump says, there's going to be some MAGA that's going to try to cover him. And sometimes it clashes. I'm watching Trump. One time I'm watching Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who used to be the spokesperson for Trump, trying to cover for something Trump said. Meanwhile, he's on Twitter saying something different. So I 100% agree with that. Whatever Trump says, MAGA's going to jump in and cover it, even if Trump didn't mean that. I mean, that does happen. There's no denying that. In response to your video earlier about the founding fathers and it not mattering of their racism to be a good POTUS, it depends on perspective. You saw that video, Will. What I was saying, and I do stand by that. And if you're talking about, because I was talking about judging a good president versus a bad one, and I stated that racism doesn't matter. It doesn't factor into that. Even you can be a good president of this country. You can be judged favorably, even if you're racist as hell. I mean, I use the founding fathers as the example. I mean, most of them had slaves, owned slaves, were in favor of slavery, and they're viewed as heroes. So I don't believe that being a racist commander in chief is a deal breaker. I just don't. I mean, there's a large portion of the country, more than half, in my opinion, that as long as you're doing what's right by them economically, they feel safe, they'll turn a blind eye to that stuff. It ain't their fight. I got a friend I talk to all the time. He's MAGA. And he often uses that phrase, it's not my fight. And that's how it often is worked throughout history, is that, that's why Martin Luther King says, all it takes for evil to persist is for good men to do nothing. Well, as long as the good man is happy with what's going on in his life, he don't give a damn, oftentimes don't give a damn about what's going on in your life. So I do still believe you can be a good president and be judged favorably, even if you're racist. Real quick, going back to the box, continuing on, asking you guys to tap the screen. Can I get 30? Is that too much to ask right now? Tap the screen, get the likes up to about, I'd like to see about 40, but I'm going to ask for 30 right now. We'll continue on with the show with Dencal. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Wait a minute. I got Al. What does that say? Al Free. I can't pronounce the last name, or I can't see it. But
you just call me Fireside. It says AI.
Oh, you out in Southern California?
No,
okay.
North Texas.
Okay, fair enough. Fireside. All right. So, what am I getting wrong?
Oh, I got
it. Took a moment. Okay, maybe it's too soon.
My ChatGPT was loading.
Okay, fair enough. So, what am I getting wrong this evening?
Honestly, I love your talks, man. Like I am a frequent returner. First time up here.
Good to have you.
I agree with a lot of stuff that you say and a lot of stuff that other people say, and the back and forth is great, man. I get a lot of value out of it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So we're talking about Trump suggesting that we're going to own Palestine and somehow make it the Riviera of the Middle East. What say you?
I say that is so I'm gonna call Trump something that I think it's an old phrase that should be unearthed or brought out of the grave, is chicken hawk. I think he is a chicken hawk. I think he likes to play a tough game and to have tough rhetoric. Ultimately, I don't see how that will work out for anybody. Certainly the United States, we've already been there, done that. Everybody has a history of that. No one wants to go back into the Middle East in the same way. We don't want history to rhyme, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that he's going to do it. I think this is just a way for him to rile up the media and keep us focused on that.
What would be the benefit of riling us up on something like that? That could lead to another terror attack.
I know. And I just don't think that he thinks that far out. I think that he is using this as a device to keep us distracted. And, Steve Bannon has talked about flooding the zone with
muzzle velocity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on that note, I kind of wanted to, pivot to this other topic of why I think that he's using the media to distract us with these comments. And I want to pivot to Elon Musk and why I believe that the biggest story of the year, or maybe even the next 2 years, at least for the length of his Doge program, is going to be around, and how much exposure he's going to have within the Treasury Department. Mm-hmm. And I changed my my account here to say AI Fireside, because part of what I wanted to do with my account is to talk more about AI and the benefits and the negatives that can come out of it. And the more I'm researching it, the more I'm seeing where Elon Musk is going with his AI in the Treasury Department.
What are you expecting?
So I think that Elon Musk is 100% malicious. I think that he has some other data mining objectives that he's trying to achieve under the guise of him being a benevolent actor within government to, look for efficiency. When in fact, I think that he's actually going to be using the data for two things. Maybe to, just give Trump some breadcrumbs to, score some wins in efficiency. Mm-hmm. But what he's going to be doing with that data is enormous. And I think people should be, especially if there's journalists in here listening or knows a journalist, they really should be paying attention to how machine learning can be used to mine the data and to be used maliciously or for his own profit. And it's
How much
not just
more
like,
can one man profit? Damn.
Yeah, I just think that people aren't really understanding the power of his AI system that he's going to be operating on. And the way that I'm using it is very primitive to what they can use it for, because they have the servers. And I mean, if you look at where he's got his computer systems to process all of this AI data, it's incredible. I mean, it rivals Google, right? He has the energy to supply it.
So you agree that in the comments, Denkel says data is a weapon. You can see something like that and thank you, Jessica, for the hat and mustache. Appreciate it. So you see him maybe using this in can you say malicious? Can you see him trying to weaponize this? Jessica, thank you.
Yes, he's going to use it for his own benefit and profit, but he's also going to use this in other ways that we don't even know yet. And I think that he's 100% malevolent. And I think that people should be raising every alarm bell should be going off right now in government. I think it's going to be the biggest story that we've ever seen.
Damn.
And I am seriously being alarmist by this because of what I've seen myself be able to do with it just within the Google AI agent tools. So anybody can do this. Anybody can go to Google and look at AI agents, and there's a notebook AI within Google. There's so many tools popping up now that is just giving you a taste of what is already being able to be done on the commercial scale and within Google and government. So I'm just saying that there's something going on here that we don't know about.
Wow.
And there's a reason why he's doing this and spending all of his time focusing on this quote unquote, efficiency.
We can't get no whistleblowers. Not one. Where is a Snowden when you need him?
Well, the Democrats right now are trying to stop Elon Musk from getting control of data within the Treasury, but I don't know if it's too late. But I was looking at some hearings, I think it was today or yesterday, where the Republicans were blocking the Democrats from subpoenaing Elon Musk to answer questions of what he's going to be doing with this program, because they're trying to play protectionist around Elon Musk, but the wolf is in the hen house right now, and the Republicans are locking the door.
What's crazy though is even if you're right about Elon and he's doing something that's malicious, as you put it, Trump would likely pardon him.
Yeah, even if he gets prosecuted, I can see that happening.
Not to mention, Trump would probably try to prevent the prosecution to begin with. But even at the end of the rainbow, if for some reason you get a prosecution through, Trump's going to interfere with that too.
Yeah, and you see with the behavior of Trump, releasing his cryptocurrency to rip off his followers and whoever else is trying to coattail that, you can see where they're going with their intentions in government. They're trying to rip off as much as possible and use data to their advantage.
You make it sound like it's a big heist.
I think it is. I honestly think it is. Them getting the data of where our money goes in the entire country. You're talking about trillions of dollars of data that they can mine in very advanced ways to front run trades. They can, and we're not talking about just like stealing credit cards. I don't think that's what he's going to be doing. He's going to be mining the data for his own benefit and his own power advancement.
Well, and see, this is what I've been saying about all of this. These different wasteful programs he's exposing, like this, sending money for condoms to the Ukrainians and all this crazy shit. If us Americans hear all of these things that they claim they're saving taxpayer money for, and your life does not financially change at all, you have to wonder, where is all that money going? If you're saving us billions, if not trillions of dollars based on the things you're finding out, and our lives as citizens are not changing at all, then where is that money going? So that could be what you're talking about. If you want to find a bunch of money, let's just get rid of these programs and pocket that.
Yeah, so he can consolidate a lot of data within. I mean, you're talking about what the Federal Reserve has access to, and now this guy, Elon Musk, and a handful of guys is going to have the power of, or at least the library of data that the freaking Fed has, and people should be really worried about this. You know, you're talking about data about government-backed securities, bonds, foreign currency. That's a big one, foreign currency.
Wow.
He can trade this data to other countries. This dude can become incredibly powerful globally just by gathering the data that he can.
Well, he already has the Starlink that, I mean, during the Ukraine-Russian war, he was able to control the outcome of that because a lot of that stuff is used for weaponry. We've outsourced a hell of a lot of NASA to Elon. He already is very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about not just what Americans spend or what the government spends on America. It's about what goes overseas. And with that data, he can extrapolate a lot of information about what's going on that's top secret information. There are things that he could do outside of government as a private citizen to benefit by like blackmailing other countries. I mean, I'm just telling you, like, this is scratching the surface.
It can go. There's a lot of different directions this can go. Now, in the comments, Robert Bankston talks about New World Order. Can you see any similarities to that?
New World Order. I mean, that's
basically one man being in control of a large portion of the globe.
I'm not really going that direction with this idea. I'm just saying that he has the ability to blackmail entire governments to doing what he wants to do within that government. And that includes our very own. So this guy is seeking power. There's no other reason why he is involved in the way that he is. He is not doing this because he cares about how much money the government spends. He's already the richest man in the world. Yeah. He doesn't care. People need to get over this idea that Musk is this American hero. He's not. He's got other ulterior motives.
I better stop talking to you before they shut us all fucking down.
Yeah, yeah, maybe so. But I'm researching more talking points, but this is one I really wanted to come up on your platform and talk about, and maybe get more people buzzing about, because I think it's going to be a growing story. And what I'm seeing on what you can do with AI, and that's also a misnomer, by the way.
I'm surprised. What you're saying sounds like something you would typically hear on Rogan. I'm surprised he ain't talking about stuff like this.
Because they're friends. You know, he doesn't want to make Elon Musk mad. I mean, you look at what Elon Musk did to that dude who criticized him for playing Path of Exile in Diablo. That he didn't actually play that game. He just hired people to play it for him. And then what he did is he took his blue check mark off of X because he criticized them. And the blue check mark is basically a financial pathway to X. Wow. So if you don't have that X...
Did they take my boy down? Okay, I'll give him a moment. Are you still there?
Yeah, sorry.
I was making sure somebody didn't walk up behind you. But go ahead.
I mean... Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you're looking at basically what one little guy, he got banned essentially from X because he criticized him about, faking the idea that he was the best on Diablo or Path of Exile. So you can imagine what Joe Rogan, he can be, canceled by Elon. You can imagine all these guys, they're just kind of,
what would be crazy? Like, say for instance, you're saying something. So to speak. Say for instance, you're saying something wild online, because we know that there is voice recognition software, and I'm speculating. I don't know how this shit works. It's way above my intelligence level, but it could get to the point where not only could they have it where if you say the wrong words, they can flag words, but if they have your voice and all your information, they can know who is saying something online and where you are currently located. So all you got to do is say some kind of threatening word online, and they're advised that this person just said this, and they live at 1515 Main Street. I mean, can you see it going to that level?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely on the mark. You can do a lot with this information, and just to give you an idea of what I'm doing right now and what I'm starting to do kind of every day, because I don't have time to listen or watch YouTube videos, is I'll have an AI tool to watch the video for me and transcribe it and turn it into a shorter, condensed podcast where you literally have two AI people talking to each other as if they were summarizing this YouTube video for you. Kind of like creating your own AI podcast for your own interests.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just what the consumer can use at the moment for free.
We're about to lose human interaction soon. I got to move it on, but wow, that's some eye-opening shit. I mean, I don't know.
Spend some time and Google AI tools, and your mind will be blown freaking like every week, if not every day at this point, because of the accelerated development in AI. So anyway, it's a subject I'm kind of getting more passionate about. I think that we should keep our eye on what Elon's doing.
Let me know if they create a woman that doesn't nag. I gotta go. Appreciate it. All right. Moving on with the program. That's scary stuff. And regardless of how you feel about Elon Musk, it's hard to deny what my last caller is saying is not possible. Elon Musk may be great for America. He may be the next coming of Satan. But the fact is, what my last caller said is possible. This guy could be using that information for nefarious purposes. There's no way to be 100% certain that Elon is on the up and up, other than Trump told me, so I believe it. I mean, that's really it. You don't know. He could. I mean, keep in mind how you feel about everybody from Ambassador Bolton to General Milley to great General Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis. Who else is out there? Attorney General Barr. These are folks that you felt good about because President Trump told you during his first administration that you don't like now. So it's possible the way you feel about Elon Musk right now may change. And now we're talking about somebody who has a whole lot of information and can do a whole lot of harm. It's frightening. It is something to be concerned about. I'll just say that. But if you just believe that Elon Musk is on the up and up because Trump is telling you, I do want you to remember how many other folks in the past you also believed was on the up and up that Trump told you that you no longer believe is on the up and up because Trump has told you now they're not. There could definitely be a day where Elon Musk is somebody that Trump is telling you don't trust as well. Looking in the comments, Tim, I've been following you for a long time. The more the Democrats lose, the crazier they get, says David Nunes. You think that only applies to Democrats? You really think, you said the more Democrats lose, the crazier they get. I'm going to ask you sincerely, do you think that only applies to Democrats? We're 2 weeks, to quote the woman in Total Recall, 2 weeks when the head comes apart. We're 2 weeks into Trump's administration. Now, you said the more Democrats lose, the crazier they get. Imagine when Biden had won in 2020, 2 weeks into his administration. Folks were telling you some shit that was so wild that the military was going to arrest Nancy Pelosi. They were going to make Trump the 17th president. They were going to arrest Joe Biden. I mean, if you heard any of the Q drops, you'd understand that the liberals ain't the only one capable of going crazy. 2 weeks into Biden administration, people were saying all sorts of crazy shit. Don't think that crazy can't be on the right because you won the last election. Go back to the one you last lost. It was pretty fucking wild. Looking in the comments though, and I was one that was hosting shows. I had lots of Q folks come on. That's why I still say to this day, left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. The Q folks say some pretty wild shit. Up to and including Hillary Clinton is no longer with us. She was executed in 2018 by way of Trump. They believe that. They believe Joe Biden is an actor. He's no longer with us. So the Democrats are crazy, huh? You haven't been following the right. Pizzagate, drinking baby's blood. You ain't heard none of that stuff, huh? Will G says, of course, 220 million white people are in favor of the founding fathers because they wouldn't be where they are without them doing horrible things they did. True. There's no denying that. True. The founding fathers are who made this country what it is. And yes, it was founded on doing horrible things to people. That's true. However, if you are maintained and or indigenous, it's flipping the bird at all the founding fathers. I don't, what happened to the indigenous people is so bad. I don't get it. I mean, yes, what happened to African Americans is bad, but they fought back over time and we've gained some resemblance of equality. Founding fathers didn't fight back as much and they've been really marginalized. I don't even think their vote counts in a lot of places. Just nothing. Did you hear about the new rug pull scheme from Trump? EO to create sovereign American Wealth Fund. No, I have not. Taxpayer funded account. Damn. Trump may dip his hand in if he doesn't get his way. I have not heard of it, but when Trump came on the scene, people were bragging about how, look, we got a president that's not taking a salary. He's worth $15 billion is what he claimed. He can't be bought. I don't buy that anymore. I didn't buy it really then, but I definitely believe that man is making money. I'm talking about Trump. I'm talking about Elon. I'm talking about the Republican Party, just like the Democrat Party. I'm not excusing the Democrats, but the notion that Trump cannot be bought, I think that has been proven false. I think Elon essentially bought his way into office as a perfect example. Elon literally gave Trump enough money and boom, here he is, the second most powerful man in the country. So, I think he can be bought. I don't buy that he can't be bought anymore. Trump wants to create this fund to buy private entities like TikTok. You know what I don't get? It's just the sheer amount of, if what you're saying is true, and what my last caller said is true, I don't understand the sheer amount of greed. We're talking about people who have so much money, their grandkids are already set for life. Elon Musk, I don't even know how many generations down the line that are set in his family tree. I mean, he don't 3-4 generations down the line, they're set for life. So he really don't need any more money. The idea that these folks are still diligently trying to get more money, the greed is off the hook. I just don't understand how folks can be that greedy. I don't know. Maybe if I was that wealthy, I might be the same. I don't know. But it's hard to fathom being that greedy, where you have enough money for multiple generations to come, and you're still trying to get more. You're still trying to get more. Money equals power. That is true. That is true. Maybe that's it. They're seeking infinite power. And Elon Musk is a perfect example. Let's say he did do something awful to this country. He could literally buy citizenship somewhere else where they would not extradite him to America. I mean, he has enough money where he can essentially move anywhere he wants. No country is going to turn down the world's richest man. Nobody's going to tell him you can't come here. There's always a deal to be made when you're that wealthy. So he can go anywhere. He can literally go anywhere. Elon might be doing things for the coming EMPs. You think there's as an electromagnetic pulse? You think that's coming? I think an EMP, considering how dependent we are on electronics, will be devastating. Devastating. Probably more so than Hiroshima or some shit like that. An EMP, the way we operate now, where everybody uses digital currency and things like that, people don't use raw cash anymore. An EMP would really, really put a strain on us. It can literally bring out the primitivity in the country. Let me go back to the box. I hope you're wrong on that. That's nothing short of frightening. First watch. Good evening. Welcome to the program. You have no idea what you're talking about, and then you try to gaslight other people. Ricky, love the name. Oh, Ricky, you're so fine. You really, really blow my mind. Correct me. Feel free to state in the comments what the hell you're telling me. I don't know. First watch. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Tim. How you doing, man? What's going on, man?
Hanging around like Mike Pence on January 6th. You know what I always say.
Yeah. Hey, luckily you made it out. But I'm so tired of all your Democrat fan coming up there. They sound crazy, man.
Give me examples.
First of all, every one of them come up here. I just like the last one, King. That's the dumbest nigga I know.
Okay,
But
hold on. You know I don't black ban the censor, but try to avoid using the N-word. It will trigger the censors on the damn app. So try to avoid using the N-word. Can you do that?
Yeah,
All right.
you're right. Let me tell you something. I'm not gonna specifically say anything, but let me tell you something. There's a lot of people that come on your live and be talking. First of all, I'm MAGA. So with that being said, I get tired of hearing all these imitational MAGAs coming up here talking about, oh, we regret, and man, we don't regret nothing. Everything going on with Trump right now, we support it.
So it's perfect. It's perfect.
Not only perfect, it's what we want, and it's gonna get better. Matter of fact, I'm just saying, I hope that Trump do accomplish Gaza, because Gaza has been over 100 years. Wait a minute, come on. Israel owned Gaza. They was trying to be very peaceful neighbors and gave it back to them so that they could create their own foundation. Who select?
Wait, what makes you say that? Wait. What makes you say that Israel owns Gaza?
Israel owned Gaza.
I will tell. Let me just say this. If you go and look up, and I've seen this myself, maps from the 1940s. National Geographic, for instance, has a map that's from the 19. It clearly says Palestine. They didn't used to call it Israel. That was Palestine first.
It never was called Israel. That's why after Egypt and everyone else abandoned the Gaza, they gave Israel came in possession of it. Israel was trying to be good people, and for them trying to be good people, this is what they got: murder, slander, rape, destruction, genocide towards the Israel people. I never hear anybody talk about that. They always talk about everything. I always hear these Democrats coming up here. Matter of fact, before Trump got in office, they used to say, I don't even like politics. I'm not going to do this to be for the white man and this and that. Now, all of a sudden, we have all these so educated people who talking about what's supposed to be and what we're supposed to have. And I hate when you talk about the LGBTQ numbers, Tim. I'll just have to get that out. And I'm going to leave that at that, because even preachers, Catholics, or anybody who touch or do anything to the same sex or a child, this is different from a pervert and LGBTQ. I'm gonna give it to them for that.
Why do you, wait, you're saying that all members of the LGBTQ community are perverts?
No, I said it's a difference between perverts and LGBTQ. That's what I said.
What's the difference?
The difference is perverts are very dirty, illicit, low-down people who touch and do things to people who can't defend themselves. Okay. LGBTQ is a feeling, a feeling of understanding and emotion, who you connect with the other person, who you love, who you trying to share something with.
We're getting somewhere now then. So what? How do you feel about President Trump essentially banning the transgender community?
Now, see? Now, the reason why President Trump is banning the trans, you said something earlier about Trump hating the trans.
Yes.
The trans.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. And you explained about not liking them. I am so on a split for understanding what you're trying to say of the hate. And just because you hate and don't like them, what's the difference? There is no difference between that. But the way how you treat that person and how you attack them and how you say certain things towards them. So I kind of understand why you put in hate.
So you understand why someone like me or somebody else would say that Trump hates the trans. You do understand why somebody would say that.
Of course I understand that, Tim. That's why I'm trying to break it down to the best of way I could say it in a more solidified way without being, because I have a lot of, LGBT friends, family. I have one who saved people in Georgia, who killed the homicided murderer who was kidnapping people and killing them in the graveyard. So I have nothing against the LGBTQ community, but what I do have a problem with is everybody who come on your live, they always just feel like they have to blast everyone and say that everyone is hateful and racist and this, when other people want, and I hate them imitation MAGAs that come out there and pretend like, oh yeah, no, I just don't support this with Trump, because if you support Trump, you support Trump.
Everything. If you so, what when you said if you support Trump, that means you got to support everything he does.
You have to support everything he does.
That's not in the no. That can't be right.
Let me tell you why you think that it's not right. In a position right now when you've chose someone to be a leader, and you said that, hey, I believe that what you're gonna do, I understand, and at that point, you might see something that you don't understand. Like right now, I can understand why everybody is up in a frantic. I can understand that. I can understand that, hey, people don't understand that America was built on certain things. And right now, we got a president who want to expand America. And we are going to take certain issues and certain things. We have 4 years. So trust me on this, Tim. We're going to be talking. We are going to advance America infrastructure a little bit more.
You think we're going to buy Gaza?
Buy
or own. Well, military. I guess forcefully take it over. What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, what I think is going to happen there, and I'm not really. Now, see, this is where another one where I'm split, and I hate that I have to be on talking about this, right? With the Palestinians, with that situation about relocating them. I don't understand how that process is going to be with relocating them and putting them in other places and what it is. Because I keep hearing everybody say genocide and this. Before I say genocide, I at least want to hear. I at least want to know. So I don't understand that part.
I thought Trump promised to get us out of overseas conflicts. Why the hell is he talking about?
I don't think we're gonna go to war or have a conflict over with that, because we down with the Saudis and we down with the most strongest.
But he also talked about not spending money in, like not sending money to sending money to the Ukrainians and things like that. How is he going to own Gaza without spending any money?
What do you mean? You mean how are we going to?
He said we're going to focus on America. Or he said we're going to focus on America for. Hold on. We're going to focus on America first and stop sending money overseas. How is he going to own Gaza and do that?
How is he going to own? Because the money is not going to be sent overseas for us to be an investment, for us to get our investment back in that way. The way we're going to get the investment back in Gaza, which I don't understand.
I believe that.
Yeah, but the way he's going to relocate the Palestinians and the way he's going to attack Hamas, because Hamas is the government over there in Palestine. So that's why I understand they're not having conversations with them. So that's why I really don't understand that situation.
I believe that. So you do realize that stuff's going to cost money.
Of course, it's going to cost.
Okay, so when he said he's going to stop spending our money on overseas conflicts and things like that, the Gaza situation shows
that's not a conflict. That's not a conflict. That's an investment. That's not a conflict.
What do you mean it's not a conflict?
That's not a conflict.
You don't think Gaza and Israel right now is a conflict?
Well, right now there was a conflict before Trump got in office. Right now, let me tell you something. With Gaza, and right now with Gaza, I think that it's in the best interest for the world for some type of resolution. I don't understand this part about, and I understand about the Rothschilds and this, but I don't understand this part about America taking part in the Middle East, because we're in, not saying a conflict, but we're in a position and in a place where geographically we're not supposed to be. So I don't see Americans supporting or going to Gaza to live in Gaza, but I do see Americans that have, how you said, they've been in the Middle East of their families, because I've seen a lot of things happen since Afghanistan and this, and people that was left over there or whatever. So maybe they will integrate over to Gaza. Maybe. I don't know.
That's a huge maybe. That's a huge maybe. I got to move it on. First watch. Hold on.
There are Americans over there. Okay, go ahead, Tim.
Okay, I do got to move it on, but so just to get clarity, right now, up to this point, you think the Trump administration has been perfect?
Yeah, I think that up to this point, even with the birthright citizenship and everything and the situation that's going on, even in the black community, I understand that because I'm a black MAGA. So I think we the new 1%ers. You understand? Because I think that all Democrats don't understand. Because I like if they understand.
I don't understand that shit at all, but keep going.
Yeah, I know, but I want them to understand this. If they understood, then they wouldn't get on your thing. And like I keep asking them, tell me.
You know what you should do? You should know what you should do.
Come on, anybody, any black Democrat to tell me that they employ over 150 employees in their business, and what are they doing to try and create something in their community instead of all this complaining and saying all these different things? Okay. Because I could talk trash.
All right, fair enough. I gotta move it on though, man. Appreciate you coming through.
Go ahead, Tim. I'll be back to you soon.
All right, good talk. All right, moving on with the program. I was gonna tell him next time you go to a black cookout, tell him what you're saying right now. I mean, it might put him at risk of being like Bruce Willis in Die Hard with a Vengeance. Remember him with Samuel L. Jackson, and Bruce Willis is standing on the corner with a sign on his back. For some of you folks who may have seen the movie, Bruce Willis is standing there and he has a sign, and Samuel L. Jackson. You got to see the movie. Anyway, look at it in the comments. Will G. Cali Love, I see that comment. Cali Love, I see you. Will G says the people telling us to migrate correctly are the same ones with ancestors that had manifest destiny. A lot of that's valid. Bum rushed Ellis Island and told us to protect the right way, but bum rushed the Capitol. So it's a couple hundred years apart, but you're hitting this, you're hitting the nail on the head with that one. MAGA ain't shit. They flip-flop, and this is coming from Will G, says MAGA ain't shit. You'll hear that anytime somebody with the super chat, they say somebody ain't shit, you're going to hear that same tone. But he says MAGA ain't shit. They flip-flop and move the goalposts so much. They were just crying months ago about foreign money and conflict. Now they are rubbing their hands together like Birdman. Lies, lies. A lot of things do change when you're in power. A lot of things that, you may have criticized the left on, and all of a sudden Trump comes along and he's doing the same thing and you're suddenly favorable to it. There is some validity to that. Well, you're hitting some spots. 1943 isn't hundreds of years ago. What is that? Says crack a book sometimes. 1940, what the hell are you talking about? He's talking about bum rushing Ellis Island. That's not in 1943. Whoever just said that, you're a bit off on a date there. I literally just said that. Cookie, did you not read? Oh, you guys are responding to each other. All right, go back to the box. Tap the screen. Let's get up to about 60,000. A few hundred of you folks rolling with your boy. You could be anywhere you want to be this evening. Certainly appreciate you riding here with me. Going back to the box, Dencal, good evening. Welcome to the show. Dencal, my last guest was interesting, so I'm giving you somebody interesting to follow. Dencal.
You call that interesting, man? I would have called it funny, hilarious, not interesting. Come on, man.
You gotta respect Black MAGA. That's Black MAGA. Get him some respect.
I hear him, but he put himself in a whole nother universe.
Put some respect on his party. Put some respect on his party.
Holy moly. He said Trump did everything he did was right. He's perfect.
Yeah. I actually asked him for clarity because, no matter who, I've never voted for any candidate in history that I thought was perfect. So I had to ask him again, and he said, yeah, he's been perfect.
Anything. He talking about it's all good over there in Gaza, because everybody just got to accept the fact that we the shit now. We can just take shit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was like cool with it. Yeah. He does not understand the history of the Middle East.
Well, he said that Israel owns Gaza. I mean, they.
I know because he only went back so far.
Yeah.
He didn't go back before the war. He didn't go back before 1938.
Yeah.
And find out that those Rothschilds and those people over in England said, "Oh, you Jewish people have been, y'all been taken advantage of and beat down so hard. We got to find you another place to go to get you out of Germany."
Yeah, I think the thing is, I mean, I don't want to blame all of that on my last call. I think the thing is, American history in this country is taught so poorly. We teach people what we think what we think they should know. Oftentimes, it's based on American exceptionalism as opposed to accuracy. Like right now, Trump is talking about getting rid of the Department of Education and giving the right to teach back to the states. There's no way that could go wrong at all. But that's what he's talking about doing. And each state is going to be teaching kids different shit.
Right. And one has already incorporated the Bible into it. So if you thought they didn't have enough time already to teach math, science, and stuff, now they're going to be teaching the Bible in school. How do you think they're going to fit in when it comes to putting their in their application in college, or or even after college, trying to get a job?
It's going to be a mess. But I tell you one thing though: if you teach the Bible in schools, that'll help get rid of that whole LGBTQ thing, because the Bible doesn't speak positively of that at all. You going to hell, little kid.
You trying to say it would get rid of the 300 or 400 people like in the country that's going?
Well, no, because if you teach the Bible in school, you're talking about transgender. I'm talking about the entire alphabet: L, the G, the B, the T. All of them are bad in the Bible.
I mean, they are. I mean, I know that's a touchy subject, especially because me and you, we come from like the same age kind of bracket, and we know we was raised in a lot of misogyny.
Oh,
and,
hell yeah.
All of that stuff. I don't want to say the words of them. But we kind of grew up in almost a grape culture where it was like, girl, come here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if she tell you no, you got to make it. Back then, you used to be able to.
It was a Trump society. You could grab them by the what damn near.
Right.
Yeah.
We could buy like what they used to call Spanish fly at the back of a cartoon book.
Just a bunch of little Bill Cosby's roaming around, huh? I think about the game. We used to play a game called Catch a Girl, Kiss a Girl. That is now considered sexual assault.
Yeah. Ours was hide and go get them.
Yeah. Oh, damn. You guys are a little bit more advanced than we were. Shit. But yeah, nowadays you can't do a damn thing without being accused of something now.
Right. But that's what they're using on specific people to take them down or change the narrative about them. Like, I don't really feel good about this information that Trump is talking about releasing on Martin Luther King, because the only thing that's in there is stuff that's going to tarnish his legacy.
Yeah. I said the same thing, is that if he releases the FBI files of Martin Luther King, we know the FBI did not like Martin Luther King. They were not a fan of his efforts to, instill civil rights. Most likely everything they had to say about him was negative. They're going to bring up the hoes as people have been bringing up all the time, that he was a womanizer. Right. All of that's going to come out. Like you said, it's all negative stuff. So I don't see how it benefits anybody.
But the same people that would look at that information and be like, I told you so, I knew he was, he wasn't great man and stuff, they not going to say nothing about Thomas Jefferson and his 14-year-old, baby mama, and him pumping out kids all over the place while still owning them at the same time. They not going to talk about that.
No. And I'll even tell you, if he's going to release 3 files, both for the Kennedy brothers and Martin Luther King, and people were bringing up that Martin Luther King, slept around and had a lot of women. So did Kennedy. So did John F. Kennedy. And I bet they're not going to make any say-so about that at all. He was banging Marilyn Monroe and all of them folks back then.
Hold on. Him and his brother was knocking her off.
Oh, really? His brother too, huh?
Yeah, Bobby, yeah.
Yeah. And I bet you ain't none of that going to come out about them, about how they were womenized. Just all about Martin Luther King is going to come out.
Right.
Yeah.
I just thought what Trump did was so disrespectful about how he treated Martin Luther King's birthday and stuff. He didn't even sign the proclamation on TV. You know, when they told all of the
Do you think he has an issue with African Americans?
I think he got a problem with everybody who don't agree with him, but it's like almost double fold because I just don't think that he thinks that like black people have the intellect to even be in the room with him. I believe he feels like that.
So he does. So in other words, he does see, at least in your opinion, that he see African Americans as inferior, or he see himself as superior to African Americans.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't know if they removed him or not, but years ago I looked up, I just kind of looked into his history and stuff, besides the stuff that I already knew. But, he had videos or interviews on TV talking about like eugenics, like the people that have the same genes that he has in his blood, are all of the smartest people in the world. I mean, he was talking some crazy shit.
That's German type, 1930s type talk.
Exactly. He said it was the genes. And that's the exact study.
I mean, when did he say that? I haven't heard this.
He was talking about his parents because his parents are from like Germany. And he was talking about, he was talking about that same thing, like how they learned, how Schmittler told everybody, like, you got these genes, you're better than everybody else. And his family came from there. So now he's having a conversation with somebody just totally being genuine. He was like, I think, there's something like inherent in my brain because of who I am that I'm just like smarter than everybody.
I would be dying I'm dying to see that. If I could get a clip of that or a video. I
would send it to you, man, but I know you got so much stuff in your inbox. I know you can't get around to a lot of that stuff.
Because I would really like to see that, because that's white supremacist talk. I mean, that's all it is if you're saying that your genes make you a better person, so you're a better person by design, like it's in your DNA to be better and everybody else is less. I mean, it is what it is.
That's how he views the world. Like, he thinks of everything as even like when he was telling the one guy, Peter Ducey, I think it is, the guy you was talking about
on Fox.
Yeah, he was talking to him, and they were talking about, like, what about these liberal cities or states where, they continue to keep playing this, they put in their history lessons that, America was built on the backs of slaves and stuff like that. He said, I'd defund them. He said, I'd defund them. You teaching African American history, I'd defund them.
Yeah, that's frightening. Like I said, that's where you're going to have a bunch of underground lessons. If you start making it so that the education system in this country is not consistent, you're going to have a lot of people being educated underground. Because you're going to start having right wing states ordering the kids to learn something different than in left wing states. It could also lead to some states or some companies not recognizing your education if you came from a certain state. I mean, like, if let's say, for instance, you live in Alabama and your parents moved to Chicago and you're in like 7th or 8th grade. And they're like, well, shit, you weren't taught accurately down there in Alabama. So you're only a 5th grader here. They didn't teach you. I mean, so it could lead to a point where some of your education is not recognized.
Right. We're already talking about some of these southern states already have like the lowest education rate in the country already. And then you're going to talk about taking away all federal funds so that the states take care of it, but they have to understand the only way they get money for education is through real estate, your property taxes. Yeah, so if you live in an area that you gotta, your house is worth $50,000, you're not gonna have to pay that much. And that money, you could live next to a city where their average, house is $400,000. So you can imagine how much money is going into the education system over there.
Yeah, that's problematic. I do believe that if you live in America, there should be some type of consistent educational standard. I don't think each state should get to decide that, but obviously I'm not in power. The current commander in chief does think that way, but I mean, when you got Florida talking about, there's benefits to being a slave and all of this shit. mean, like, wow. I mean, this could really get off the hook. I mean, get to the point where you can't teach about Black Wall Street over here, or this school over here is making it illegal to even acknowledge LGBTQ as a real thing. I mean, it could go anywhere.
Dude, they took out the training in the Air Force. They took out the Tuskegee Airmen training.
Any idea if that will hurt minority enrollment?
Yes, it should hurt them, but I don't know, because younger people going into military service, a lot of times they're going into it for selfish reasons. Like, it's not like back in the day when there's a war and you went into it because, yay, I was gung ho to defend the country. Like, everybody's got their own reasons now. It's like, I want to get money for school, or I want to get this training so when I get out, or I'm just trying to get some discipline, or my family's rich and they told me if I do like 4 years in the military and get out, you would always have that stamp on your name as a vet. And I've met guys like that whose families were like, very wealthy, and they say, look, that's a part of their family history. Is like, you got to do a couple of years in the military.
I used to wonder why somebody from a wealthy family would do that, but I mean, I guess if it furthers you, I mean, because a lot of them end up running for,
You got it on your resume. That's a strike for you. You know what I'm saying? They can't attack you as being a non-patriot. Even when we see people like Tulsi Gabbard, and she be like, yes, I'm a veteran. I was in action and all of that stuff. Like, she get a certain amount of respect off rip.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Even though the shit she be saying is stupid as hell, but she get that benefit of the doubt, because you be like, oh, they served their country, so yeah, they must be legit. But trust me, a whole bunch of us is fucked up in the head.
Well, you guys do see some wild shit while you're in there. I mean, some of you folks have seen things that would fuck anybody up in the head.
Right. And the thing is, look, it's so funny that all of this stuff is going on, and you got all these MAGAs, and they saying like everything is perfect and stuff, and when they have no clue of when the president of the United States signs an executive order saying to stop the flow of all fucking federal spending.
I cannot believe that he would do something like that. I mean, I just can't believe it. I mean, he was going to literally make a large chunk of the country unemployed all at once.
I mean, it's 2.3 million people in civil service, and that doesn't include all the people.
Yeah, that don't include all the distributors and truck drivers and janitors. I mean, he literally was going to make millions of people unemployed, but with the stroke of a pen. Something, I'll just say this. If this does not turn out right, the whole Trump experience, you're going to likely get some laws to prevent this from ever happening again. Because he's showing that if you let one man have all the power, if they want, they can do a whole lot of damage.
Right. And I just want to spend a little bit of extra time I got is talking about that one guy who was talking about Elon Musk.
Yes.
Yeah.
The data collection.
He is 100% right, man. This guy is all up in our shit. Everybody's shit. This ain't no forefather. He was born in the country. He was Trump-like. He pulled himself up by his bootstraps. This is a guy who got his wealth initially from inheriting precious metals, precious stones, mines in South Africa, and as that whole situation.
So you don't trust Elon?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Yeah. But I was just like, people need to understand his progression to where he's at,
right?
And to not be thinking he's out here because he really cares if the United States of America, saves money in their budget. Like, he don't care. This dude, they going to court like yesterday or today about him having too much access to all of our government.
Right, they're trying to fight it. I've heard that they don't.
It's too damn late. He already went up in there He shut all of the senior people out of their computers. He sent his 20-somethings up in there. They had jump drive. They was taking all of the information. If nobody doesn't understand anything about what's going on, they should understand that a man with complete control of AI and unlimited resources and all of the information from all of us. I mean, they could, if they put our information together, they can tell what time in the day we go to the bathroom. Yeah. They can put all of that information. And now a man that we know that's involved in that stuff and is developing Neuralink, the chip you can put in your head. Like, this dude is getting more information than you could ever understand. And we know that information is king because that's why they sell it to each other. Yeah. So if the man that tells us, if I can show some of these Trump dummies a video of Elon Musk saying that in the future nobody's going to have a job. It's going to be He did say that. Yeah, there's not going to be a reason for anybody to have a job because AI and mechanism is going to take over. So we're going to have to invent a way for people to have purpose in life. Sure. By giving them a universal income so they can feel like they doing something, but it's just money we get. Like, they don't have no idea of what this dude is doing underneath the hood of a 67 Chevy. Like, this guy...
So he's essentially the smartest guy in the room, but he may not be doing it for good.
No, he's not the smartest guy in the room, but he knows the smartest guys in the room. Those 20-somethings that he's sending around with him when they illegally, take access to a government building and lock out all of the people...
Those are the smartest guys in the room.
Yeah, when them young boys running up in there with them, that they know they going to get that information. And just imagine if you could have the information of every fucking citizen in the United States of America.
Wow.
He's out here. He fired. He got the senior member of the FAA fired. That guy was bringing a lawsuit against SpaceX because they had shot that missile up and it blew up. And it rained down shit over all of these people's houses. And the FAA said, no, you need to find out and figure out what the problem was before you can do it again. Elon Musk came in there after Trump won, had him fired. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is stuff that he's directly benefiting off of. He gets to go into the actual OPM, the records, and see any contractors that applied against him in those contracts and put himself in a position.
I hope you're wrong, but I don't think you are.
Man, I'm not wrong. Look, that man don't have no allegiance to this country. Why in the hell will we ever let somebody that come from another country come up in here with his own little homeboys and infiltrate the most sensitive and secretive data that America has to offer when we know his whole point in life is to develop IA so he can be like the fucking Wizard of Oz?
I'll be dead, hopefully. I gotta move it on.
It ain't gonna take that long, brother.
I know. I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing. I mean, it's bad. I can't even play the other side on that shit. I don't have nothing.
It's a bunch of stuff I know I'd like to talk to you, but that part, that Elon Musk part, why they acting like it's cool, and like the other gentleman said, like, you know, imagine if Obama became the president and then he sent like let's say he sent like Reverend Al up in there to collect all of the information from all the companies. You know what I'm saying?
They would shoot him. They would shoot him.
You don't need no security clearance or nothing. You could just go in there and you can look and see. They would be an uproar. I gotta move it on, then, Cal. I can't argue with you. I have nothing on that. Nothing. Thank you, though. I have nothing. And I listen because regardless of how you feel about Elon, like I said before, he does find himself in a position where he could do a lot of damage to the United States. He is in a position where he could do a ton of damage to America.
him and a few dudes, as he's pointed out, a few geniuses he has with him, has all of our information. I mean, for all you know, he may sell all this shit to Putin, Xi Jinping. Can you imagine can you imagine? And I guess they don't need money, but the powers that be would pay a killing to get what Elon Musk is getting from the United States. I just don't know where it can go. So we hope that Elon is on the up and up. But at the very least, he's an incredible safety hazard. He is given the keys to the kingdom. And as my last caller pointed out, it is odd considering that he was not elected and he is not even born in America. We talked about Obama being from Kenya. This guy actually is from somewhere else. And we're giving him the keys to the kingdom. So this could really, really backfire. I'm just telling you that. Looking in the comments, in response to the quacking MAGA chick about Trump's proclamation to BHM. That was actually a dude, wasn't it, yesterday? The quacking MAGA chick about Trump's proclamation to Black History Month. Did you know not only did it not mean squat, but you can look at all the proclamations of every president on Black History Month. No, I did not know that. But we were talking about Trump with Black History Month, him getting rid of it last show, and someone brought up that Trump made a proclamation to Black History Month, and what my viewers here are saying is the same thing I said. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, a proclamation is of no value. That doesn't really mean anything. A little bit of criticism, we don't mind that, coming from corpseman kind. The Department of Education the Department of Education employs thousands of bureaucrats that teach nobody and create issues just to justify their existence. I believe that absolutely happens. But if we go from the Department of Education to letting the states do it, you don't think that same shit's going to happen at the state level? When you go from letting things be ran by the federal government to states' rights, it's essentially the same shit. It's just a smaller government. The states are essentially a mirror of the feds. It's just a smaller government. They got their own Senate, they got their own Congress, they got their own Supreme Court. It's essentially the same thing. So if you think there is waste at the federal level and you move it to the state, you can go from having a corrupt president to a corrupt governor. It's essentially the same thing. There's plenty of corruption. I mean, I'm from Illinois. I can tell you of Governor Edgar, Governor Blagojevich. I mean, I can't even think about in my lifetime. I think at least 4 Illinois governors have served prison time for being corrupt. States' rights. That's states' rights. So, I mean, going from federal to state does not exclude corruption. It just gives a different person the power to do it. I mean, it's literally a mirror. State government is almost a mirror of federal government. Real quick in the comments, in response to the dude yesterday about taking generations to get assimilated from being Irish, it takes 3 to 7 generations for a Black person to get snowed out. Wow. I'm curious what do you mean by snowed out, but it shouldn't take but a generation or 2 to get acclimated. Let's say, for instance, you let an immigrant into America today. They're going to bring a lot of their customs with them if they're an adult. They're going to certainly bring their language. If they speak English, they're going to have an accent from where they came from. Once they give birth to a child, which is the second generation, that child grows up in American school, in the American school system, and probably is not going to have the accent that the parent have. They're going to be far more acclimated to American lifestyle than their parent was, who came from a different country. That kid was born here. I'd say 1 to 2 generations after the person that came here as an immigrant is gone. I mean, if I go and migrate to a different country, I'm gonna take some of my American cultures with me. I'm gonna obviously take my American accent. Like when I was in Australia, when I lived in Australia, obviously I had an American accent. By the time I produce a child that produces another child. My grandkids are going to be totally Australian. They're not going to have hardly any American culture in them at all, other than maybe talking to granddad, the little things I passed on. But they're going to be speaking with Australian accents probably, because now you got 2 generations that are raised up in that system. So I would say 1 to 2 generations. That should be enough to get you pretty acclimated to where you're at. You'll take your violent nature for sure. Says Trump train coming through. I'll take my violent nature. Okay, so you see me as someone of violent. You see me as a person that has a violent nature. All right, fair enough. It's crazy how so many folks see African Americans as violent. I mean, I get it that you see all kinds of world star videos online. You see African Americans online fighting with the police, and they got a violent culture. You hear about Chicago, but when you look at American history, I mean, everything from sicking dogs on little children to beating people because they won't work for you for free. It's odd that white people never got assumed to be violent, even though our history shows that there's been far more violence coming from white people to other cultures than it has been from any of the other cultures. I'm not going to say that right now there's not enough media out there to show that blacks can be violent. But fact is, when you look at how the colonists treated the Native Americans, treated the African Americans, treated their own women, do we exclude all of that and come to the conclusion that blacks are the only ones that are violent? I mean, there's enough history there to show you that they ain't doing it by themselves. Just go by your own history while you can before your state starts teaching you some other shit. Going back to the box, or before I go to the box, once again, Will G says, MAGA ain't shit. Comparing Dr. Fauci and medical information and Elon and all of your information is the dumbest thing you could ever say. I'm afraid of the information exchange. I'm just going to say that. I am afraid of that. As 2 of my callers have said now. I don't know where Elon's going with that, but obviously we got a question of his. My heart goes out to you. Salute. I don't know. I don't feel confident that Elon is as great as some of my beloved MAGA viewers do. But I'll continue on with the program. You know how Picnic came about. Actually, I think that's not true. T-Mac, I've actually said that as well. I've fact-checked into how the word picnic came about. And the way you and I thought it did, that is actually not true. Where, we believed it was pick a N-word. From what I can tell, that's actually not true. And I looked it up, so I'm telling you, I don't believe that's actually true. Snowed out, become white, going from black to white. 3 to 7 generations, 2 to 5 generations for reverse. Our genes are strong. Well, and that's why I believe that a lot of African immigrants, when they come to this country, they don't want to fuck with black people here. It's because we've been, as you say, snowed out. Going back to the box, we'll go to Gavel Raps, I think that says. Good evening. Welcome to the program. I just happen to read a lot, and I read books from all perspectives, including I guess that says shit ass right. I don't quite get that. The shitty ass right and the shitty ass left. Is that what you're saying? Who did I just Gavel? Good evening.
Yo, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay.
Good to have you on. So what brought you up?
Okay, I just want to ask you 2 questions because
Sure.
I've been in your chat going back and forth with some people.
Okay.
I just want your opinion on 2 things. And
Sure.
by the way, I ain't gonna I don't judge people.
Don't worry with me. Neither will I. Uncensored always. What you got?
All right. So I just have 2 questions to ask you. How do you feel about what Trump did today with the saving women's sports? Because I thought that was a good thing he did, but I guess some people don't. Some people are saying it was pointless, but I mean, I don't really think that's pointless. But I want your opinion on it.
I kind of agree with everything you just said. By the way, folks, tap the screen, get the likes on up if you can. Give me another 10 on that. Appreciate that. Tap the screen, get the likes up. You know how that works. It helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. I am certainly on the side that a biological male should not be playing in women's sports. As I always say, I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. Putting a wig on me, I should not be allowed to dominate women in their game. So I'm fine with what he did. But you also mentioned some people say it's pointless. I agree with that as well. I believe that this is chasing rainbows. I think that this is affecting so few people. I mean, we've been talking about the price of eggs for about 6 months now. Yet he's passing legislation that has nothing to do with the price of eggs and dealing with something that affects probably 0.0001% of Americans. I mean, how many folks are dealing with playing against how many girls in this country are dealing with where this is actually happening, where there's a transgender male in their team? Most schools in America do not have one transgender athlete in that school at all. But everybody's paying more for the price of eggs. So I agree with what he did, but I also agree that it's pointless, it was unnecessary, and there's a whole lot of other shit that's more important. What else you got?
Okay. The other question I have too was, how do you feel about him removing the DEI? Because I also thought that was a reasonable thing to do. Because I always thought that like whoever's like best suited for the job, it don't matter what you are, it don't matter what your skin color is, or if you're gay, or if you're not gay, or nothing matters. Just you, and like if you're good at doing the job, unless if you're like a criminal.
Well, I agree with your premise. However, that's not how we do things in America. We've never given positions out solely based on merit. Perfect example, Trump got $1 million loan from his dad, went to the Wharton School of Finance where nobody black could attend that. You think he got all of that on merit only? I mean, he himself has been a beneficiary of something due to his skin color and his family history. So I don't believe that getting rid of DEI and we're going to go back to merit now. We never went on merit. It's been nepotism and, if your dad went to Harvard, you could probably get in as well. I mean, everything we do, even in sports, if your dad played ball, like LeBron James' kid is playing ball and he doesn't qualify to be a professional, yet he's already had professional experience. I mean, everything we do is based more on who you are or who you know as opposed to your actual merit. Getting rid of DEI ain't gonna change that. Other than maybe for African Americans and some of the minority groups, but there's a whole lot of white people that get jobs and positions that have nothing to do with actual merit. You think that Trump's sons, Don Jr. and all of them, and Barron, you don't think that they're gonna get some shit that they don't deserve simply because of who their dad is? You don't think that's gonna happen?
Nah, I definitely will. Like you said, LeBron and Bronny's a perfect example. LeBron's son, he probably shouldn't be in the NBA. I agree with that. Like,
and it's going to happen with Trump's kids. They're going to get jobs they don't deserve. Merit ain't got nothing to do with it. It's dad picking up the phone, making a phone call to somebody that's in charge and giving him the ability to wave him right on through. I mean, that's how America has been founded like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. What's the quote? It's like, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, DEI and getting gigs based on who you are as opposed to merit only became a problem when it started working for minorities. But throughout American history, as I always say on the program, up to the Civil Rights Act, you already knew your next mayor, your next head of the park district, your next police chief. You knew it was going to be a white guy. You knew the next Supreme Court justice was going to be a white dude. Doesn't matter how intelligent a black woman or a Hispanic woman is, she's not going to get the job. It's going to be a white dude. You already know that. That's DEI. That's not based on merit. None of these other people, I bring up the Tuskegee Airmen, another example of guys who were doing very well as fighter pilots. They didn't get to be in the upper ranks because they were black. But some white guy that may have been a lackluster pilot is going to get promoted above them. That's DEI. They just don't call it that. We've always did this. It just became a problem when it started working for people of color.
All right, well, I'm going to ask you like one more question. I'll let you go. I don't want to hold you up or anything, but when I was voting, I will tell you, I did vote for Trump. I wanted Ramaswamy. That's who I wanted to be the president. I want your thoughts on
Your
him.
party don't want Ramaswamy. I've said this many times on the program, when you're a person of color running for president in this country, you're going to have problems. We've had 4 people in our lifetime recently run for president. Well, just recently. I won't go back to the Jesse Jackson days. I'm talking about just in the last few years. We've had 4 people, and each one of them got otherized real quick. Those 4 people are Barack Obama. The minute he ran, he started being from Kenya all of a sudden. And then we just had Kamala Harris. She suddenly turned into a Jamaican and Indian. And then we had Nikki Haley from the Republican side. She suddenly became Nimrata. And even your guy, Vivek Ramaswamy, they started bringing up his heritage. So if you're a person of color running, they're going to otherize you. They're going to start saying you're from somewhere else.
Yeah, it sucked too because I really wanted him to win.
Yeah.
Do you think he would have been a better president than Trump is now, or what he could have been? Because I feel like
I think first of all, Vivek Ramaswamy is essentially Trump light. When he was running for president, he really didn't have any different policies. Kind of like Kamala Harris, where she wouldn't do anything different from Biden. He had a hard time answering what he would do differently from Trump. The only difference is it benefited him because the Republican Party liked Trump versus the Democrats wanted to get rid of Biden. But Vivek Ramaswamy was basically Trump light. Now, do I think he would have been a better president? And because I lean left on a lot of social issues, I can't say yes to that. But I will say this, he would have been less controversial. I don't think he would be doing half of the stuff that Trump is doing, talking about owning Gaza and all of it. I don't think he would have been firing everybody. Yeah. I mean, he would have been, so to some degree, he would have been better for unity of this country probably than Trump.
Yeah, that's what I liked always about him. The way he always talked about like bringing everybody together, and that's the goal as a country too, is to bring everybody together. Like not as much division and stuff, which I know there always will be a little bit of division. But
well, you're not going to get unity with people yelling "fuck your feelings." That ain't even designed to be unifying. That's intended to be divisive.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
well, I appreciate you letting me on here. I appreciate you always, being fair and honest. Like you let people come on here and, speak their mind and everything. So I appreciate you letting me on here and everything.
Anytime, doors always open. Thanks for coming through.
Oh yeah, no problem. You have a good one.
You too. All right, moving on with the program. MAGA Black Crush. What does that mean? First watch. He would have been a law-abiding citizen. Hey, that was what I used to promote when Trump was running. I was telling folks that like you're going to get anywhere from 80 to 90% of Trump's policies that you like out of Ron DeSantis or Vivek Ramaswamy. Now looking back, I think I might have been wrong because Trump is going in areas that I wouldn't have expected him to cut off all the funding to the federal government. I mean, Ron DeSantis and Vivek would not have done that. In fact, out of all of those 9 candidates running, Trump is doing a lot of stuff that they would not have done. I don't think any of those folks, well, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think any of those folks would have gave Elon Musk the power to do some of the things he's doing. Trump, on the other hand, is one of those kind of guys that I'm gonna push the law to its limits. They're gonna have to tell me this shit is illegal. I'm going to do this whether it's legal or not until somebody tells me it is illegal. Whereas I do believe the likes of Ron DeSantis and Kristi Noem and all them that were running, if their lawyers or advisors tell them, Miss President, Madam President, or Sir, this is not legal, they'll listen. Trump, on the other hand, who gives a fuck? Just do it. Leave it up to the courts. So he's going to push the envelope. So when I originally thought that Ron DeSantis or Vivek Ramaswamy would give you 80, 90% of the policies from Trump, I now feel like I'm wrong on that because he's, firing, getting rid of the Board of Education, stuff like that. I think he's going way further than any of them would have did. Any of those. Firing all of these FBI agents and firing folks at the CIA. I don't think any of the other candidates had that in store. So I think he's going much further. And that's good or bad, depends on how you view it. In the comments, I want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats before we continue on with the program. What does that says? Will BHO was a minority, but he isn't a black guy. I don't know what you're saying there, Philip. Business involves politics. Usually. Which, it's interesting you would say that business involves politics because when Trump came on the scene, one of his calling cards was, I'm not a politician. And I used to push back and say that. You don't get to be a real estate mogul in a corrupt-ass city like New York without a whole lot of politicking. You're at Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton's wedding. I mean, you're hanging around the likes of Jesse Jackson. Yeah, he was a politician. I mean, you were not an official politician, But that's exactly what you were doing. He was a politician. He just didn't want to go by that term. Revenge is the sweetest thing next to getting. You talking about the Tupac lyric from is it Hail Mary? I think it's called something like that. Looking in the comments, though, continuing on. I don't know what I just hit there, but we will continue with the program with the one and only Michael. Good evening, Mike. Welcome to the show. You heard a lot, so I'm gonna give you the floor.
Hey, the young man that was on before you, if he's still listening, hey, young fella, I have a lot of respect for you because you came up and you asked questions that you wanted confirmation on. You have a position and you showed some humanity that a lot of people are not showing nowadays. I respect the shit out of that.
He was a good caller and he was MAGA. He was a good caller.
And listen, you know what, Tim? I don't even know if he's MAGA. But whatever he is, he shows some maturity that I can respect. I mean, that was pretty cool because again, I bet you he's in that age range that Lindsey Graham was targeting.
Ooh. Well, I will say this, and I know what you're talking about, but I will say this also, and I'm gonna pat my own self on the back and toot my own horn here, but we run a respectable program because we don't talk down the guests and things like that. Yeah, I know all of you folks tune in to other lives and other pages on social media that talks about politics. A lot of them are scream fest where people can't get their point across and things like that. They're cussing each other out. We don't do that here. So for folks who do have a completely different opinion of mine or anybody else, or you're sick of hearing about Trump or you're sick of hearing about racism, whatever, you can come on the program, get your point across without anybody treating you like shit or talking down to you. You get plenty of time to get your point across. And I think that is what can kind of create people like that.
Yeah, hey, I loved every minute of that. I think that
it was a good call.
I think we need. It was a good call because he showed something. But listen, let's talk about this Elon thing. And just the whole operations, MAGA, Trump supporters, it's crazy because they're not even applying what they're seeing in their own life. And here's what I mean by that. Why do you turn off security cameras? Why would you relinquish all the security in your life? All the checks and balances. Why would you be getting rid of every check and balance in your life if you weren't looking to do something you didn't want?
Who's doing that?
Trump. That's all he's doing. He's destroying the agencies. He's destroying all the securities in the government that protect us. All the checks and balances, he is completely taking away and then giving somebody access to data that's worth. There's no price you can put on. There's no price on the information at the Treasury. There is no price. That's what people are not paying attention to. There is no price on that information for every U.S. citizen. And do you think if they're using it for that, they're gonna separate the Democrats and the Republicans? People don't understand how much information is there, Tim.
No,
they're not thinking. Every U.S. citizen that has a social security number, that is in that.
Where are you people at on? Wait, hold on. And I'm not. This is no disrespect to you, Denkel, or anybody else, but where are you people at on the higher levels? Like, I mean, how many higher, like, well-known politicians are saying what you guys are saying? We need more reputable people that have access to bigger platforms. Where are the folks screaming this stuff out?
They are saying it. And again, I haven't heard it as much as they should because I know a lot of this is in the courts, Tim, but they are saying it. But listen, I told you I worked in IT for 27 years. I know how information is distributed and how value. Think about every company, and I want everybody to pay attention to this. Every company that you deal with has to send you. Every year you get a statement from all your institutions about your private information. Mm-hmm. That was set up by the government to protect this very information that they just gave over.
Is it possible that there's not more outrage or more people in power saying anything? Denkel says they're scared. Is fear playing a role in this?
I do think I think people if they say it in the terms that I'm saying it, just like I get on here, people think it's fear mongering. It's like, it's not. You have to reverse the way you're looking at this. People are looking at it from a MAGA or Trump or the left or the right. It's data.
Yeah, but what you're talking about would not happen if not the blessing of Trump. So if you're saying it's not left and right, but the only way this happens is with the blessing of the right. So if you're criticizing what's taking place as being negligent, then you're going to blame some of this on the right because that's the only way it's happening.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. But I'm saying that people's willingness to absorb what we're talking about is because they're looking at it from the right. You can't, you're talking about him, so I don't want to accept it. It's like, no, you need to set that shit aside because you know about the dark web. All you got to do is research dark web and information and how much countries pay for information. Yeah. It's not like we haven't been hacked before, right, Tim?
Right.
It's not like that's not a part of the these cyber wars, right? It's a real thing.
Let me ask you this, though. Now, I think we all are in agreement that giving one man a bunch of information on every single person in this country can be dangerous. But I want to ask you from a standpoint of premeditated. Like, is this something where Trump came along and was hoping that he could make the country great again, maybe make a few bucks for himself, but make the country great again? And he wanted to surround himself with the best and brightest, including the likes of Elon Musk. Or is it premeditated where they knew they had some type of heist, so to speak, going on? If we get back in office, we're going to do this and this and this. I'm going to put you in charge of getting all the information. I mean, do you think this is premeditated?
100%. Listen. I don't think they happened at the same time. Here's what I mean by that. I think that the MAGA and the right movement was started off as white Christian nationalism. That's what it started off as, okay? The Elon component came after the fact. So hear me out. Because Project 2025 has been going on for years from a white Christian nationalist perspective. That's been there, right? That was there his first presidency.
I can't believe they let that shit get out. I mean, I know right? Trump is denying Project 2025, but I can't believe they let that shit fall in people's hands because at this point, people are checking off how much of it is coming true.
Right. Even though they still don't admit it. Even though people that have been on your show have not admitted that thing exists. But so follow me through this. Elon happened after the fact. Because the way it came together, Elon wasn't engaged early on in the campaign. He came on later. When he got involved and he threw that $500 million at this campaign, I told you from the very beginning, Tim, that he wants something significant for return on that investment. You and a lot of
people said that. Like, I mean, what was it, 400 million or whatever he gave Trump?
400.
Yeah, he don't just want to be the head of Doge.
Right. So if you're head of Doge, Elon knew what he wanted. Once he paid in, then Trump was in. He got used by Elon in my.
But wait a minute. Okay, when I asked you premeditated, okay, so you clearly Elon had premeditated plans, but did Trump know? Did Trump think that he was just simply trying to help Trump win again, or did Trump think that Elon wanted in for what he's in your opinion, for?
I think he knew he wanted in, but I don't think how much he knew he wanted. You understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah, it's complicated. I know we're going down a deep conspiratorial path, but I guess I understand what you're saying because even at Trump's level, even though he's nowhere near as wealthy as Elon, he's wealthy enough to know why the hell would this guy want this? I mean, the head of the Department of Doge is probably a position that pays less than $200,000 a year. So what the hell would this guy want this for? I mean, you would assume Trump would be smart enough to know this guy has to, I mean, he's not that eager of moving to America and making us great that much. So he would have to assume there's something else there.
Yeah, 100%, Tim. And somebody said in the comments, they played each other. He hasn't, listen, he's part of Doge, but he doesn't have to divest any of his government subsidies, none of his government contracts, none of that stuff. He doesn't have to relinquish any of that. Right?
He loses nothing.
Right. So that's why they created the department that's outside of the government. But you're also giving them access inside the government. It's not like what I just said is crazy. We're watching it happen in front of us.
Yeah.
We have never seen something like this in the history of this country. And as much as people don't want to admit it, they are not paying attention to what's going on in front of them.
Yeah, but you gotta assume the Republican and Democrat politicians in Washington are smart enough to put two and two together and know what's going on.
But they're not going to go against it. No, I didn't say they don't know. I'm saying they've convinced the average MAGA supporter on all this other shit. We've been talking about it since the beginning, Tim. They convinced these supporters that it was about transgender and it was about DEI and it was about immigrants being violent.
Well, he is doing stuff about that, though. He is addressing transgender and violent. I mean, he in Colorado today they took a bunch of them out.
But listen, all he got to do is check. You listen. You said it. All he has to do is parade a little bit of this shit in their face, and they'll think he's doing a lot. Did you or did you not?
And
say
that's
that
exactly what's happening too. Is he's parading it constantly.
Exactly. But look at the other shit that they're doing behind it, man. And
you basically are echoing the sentiments of Steve Bannon. Flood the zone. What do you call it? Muzzle velocity. If you do a bunch of shit and only a couple things get through, we still getting what we want done. He said do about 3 or 4 things a day, and even if one thing gets through, you're getting stuff done.
And they're so, and his supporters are so far gone, they don't even want to admit it because they're not talking about the same shit they were bitching about before the election. They're not talking about eggs anymore. They're not talking about the economy anymore. They're talking about Gaza and why it's a good fucking idea now. Are you kidding me?
I can't disagree with that. We are not talking about. We are not talking about the same things we were bitching about under Biden. I mean, you're right. The game has changed,
and they're excusing it. But when you listen, I'm having the conversation with you right now, not even from that perspective, but really from Americans going, are you really watching what's going on in front of you? You better take a shower or go to sleep or repent or do whatever you want and wake the hell up because it's happening to all of us. It's happening to all of us. Let's not be mistaken. My Social Security is not separate from anyone else's at the Treasury Department. Yeah. It's happening to all of us. And it may sound crazy and it may scare people, but if fear is the thing you need to wake your ass up, wake your ass up because what's happening in front of us is crazy work. And even Johnny Lemon goes, the end of wokeism. I'm like, he's exactly what I'm talking. You are the tool that they're using to do what they're doing. I see it, Tim, and you see it too. That's the funny part. I know you see it because your disposition.
It's undeniable. Wait. I try to be reasonable. I can play both sides of any issue. And by the way, Meech the innovator, appreciate the roses there. They call me Big Meech, Larry Hoover. But the thing about it is, it's so clear that even if you play both sides of something, it's hard to deny that how bad this looks or how shady it looks. Giving one dude all this information. I mean, there's no way to like what I told Denkow. I don't have nothing. I mean, I can't even play the other side of it. It's that clear that I don't see the up and up on it.
And let me ask you this: to that extent, what happened in Pearl Harbor? We were distracted. When Japan attacked.
On Sunday morning, distracted how? It was a Sunday morning.
We weren't ready.
Yeah.
We weren't prepared. And I'm telling you, this is a different age we're in. He's pissing off allies. He's talking about Gaza. And it's just weakening us. It's weakening the U.S. as a whole.
You're making it sound like he might be telling to dust off the passport.
Well, let me ask you this. And I'm being serious, Tim, but let me ask you this. In my lifetime, I'm 54. In my lifetime, I don't recall our government being this distracted and this disheveled.
No,
I don't care. I don't remember.
Nobody has done as much as Trump in this quick period of time. I mean, the flurry of executive orders and things like nobody's done this much stuff. and some of it being radical, like cutting off all federal funding and stuff. Nobody's done this much stuff in this short period of time. So no, we've never had this happen.
And then turn around and give somebody else that can't even run for president the keys.
Yeah.
The keys, Tim.
Yeah.
I mean, what else could he have access to? All the classified files other than that?
You know, I want to say, and I think I mentioned this earlier with Denkow, I want to say that we need to pass laws where one man doesn't have as much power as Trump, but the way Congress is right now, he would get permission from the Republican Congress to do just about anything he wanted to anyway.
I know they were trying to dismiss the whole Gaza statement.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying is that I don't know. We've never seen one man have this strong of a following ever. I don't think. I mean, maybe in the George Washington days, but nothing in our lifetime. You know, Ronald Reagan was a very well-loved president on the Republican side. We had Clinton and Obama. None of them had the amount of just the blind support as Trump does.
Tim, it's so crazy. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna leave. And this people need to pay attention to this. When's the last time we heard the term ethnic cleansing?
You hear it? Well, Serbia, the Croats, and in the Bosnian War.
Ethnic cleansing.
Yeah,
that's not a term. That's not a term you use as a president to describe a group of people over in Gaza. There's 2 million people. Listen, hey, Tim, they're not paying attention, man. That's some crazy talk. And all he's doing is creating generations of radicalization when you talk about doing that to people.
Yeah, and the minute he talked about owning Gaza, that's the first thing I said on yesterday's show is that's the stuff that terrorists are made of. That's the stuff that radicalization is made of. When you're talking about owning somebody's homeland, and certainly an American saying it is. Now, I know a lot of my MAGA side of the aisle, and even the liberals, we can see a difference between president to president. I mean, if you're MAGA, you see a totally different America under Trump than you do under Biden. But overseas, it's America. They're not separating presidents like that. If America does something, the next guy that does something, they say America's doing something again. So they don't. Exactly. They're not separating it like that.
But here's the part that all his supporters are missing. Anybody that just overlooks what Trump says is they don't understand other countries can use his very words that you think is just Trump being Trump as propaganda against the U.S. They don't understand that. They don't understand that when he makes a comment about blowing a country to smithereens, other countries use that as U.S. propaganda against us.
You heard he said that. You heard he said he left the order that for if Iran takes him out, he left the order to totally destroy them.
Well, and so what do you think? What do you think they're going to use with those words, right? But everybody's always dismissing what he says is it's just him talking and talking because they want to be right, as opposed to how does the rest of the world see it? Because our enemies see it that way. They use it. It's coming from the president. They don't get it. Yeah. They're so disconnected to this stuff. I'm like, okay, well, our kids may be paying for this decision right here. If I'm gonna leave it there.
If we don't get on track. All right, appreciate it, Mike. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I like that. I like that sweatshirt, bro. You got your turtleneck on. Yeah. I wasn't going. I almost let you get away, but I liked it. What color is that? Was that a rust color? What color is that?
Good night. Have a good night.
That's that Lionel Jefferson. That's that Lionel Jefferson sweater right there.
Lionel Jefferson. Are you fucking kidding me? Goodbye. Oh my God. You got to be 50 to even know who the fuck that is. All right, look at the car. Lionel Jefferson. Bless his heart. Looking in the car. Jesus Christ. Can't even believe he said that. Wow. Meech. Appreciate the roses that they call me Big Meech. And by the way, 50 is trolling Meech now because Meech was seen hanging out with Rick Ross. 50 Cent and Rick Ross are adversaries, and so did because Meech, this is for my brothers that watching the show. The BMF and that whole thing there, that 50 Cent runs that show. It's based on Big Meech's life or whatever, and Well, Meech has hung around Rick Ross, who also made his career by pretending to be him. Well, now 50 Cent has said the BMF show is in its last season. He's pissed off with Meech hanging around Rick Ross that much, he's going to cancel the TV show. Speaking of which, that's petty. That's some Trump shit right there. 50 Cent should be hanging around Trump. Meech, good evening.
What you know, bro?
Hey, I'm just hanging around. What brought you on? What am I getting wrong tonight?
Oh no, you got it all right, man. I agree. I disagree on some of the nuance in your conversation, but as far as your overall points you were making, we 100% together on that.
Okay,
but Trump is not some incredibly much more advanced form of racism than we've seen in this country. There have been several Trumps. I think it's just that we're so miseducated in the school system about how we got here.
How do you respond to many Trump supporters that say this man used to hang around Oprah Winfrey and Jesse Jackson and he's not racist at all? How do you respond to that?
Hanging around somebody of a certain ethnicity has nothing to do with your ideology and how you feel about them on a systemic level. Like systemic racism, I hate that people try to make racism and other forms of discrimination like an interpersonal thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, just because I'm cool with you and we hang out and have beers, that doesn't mean that I'm in favor of you making the same money as me on a job, on a policy level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I used to be an Uber and Lyft driver. I've hung out with some rich fucks that, you drop them off at a bar. Come on in, have a drink with me. I know they look down on an Uber driver. So, yeah, I can see it makes perfect sense. In the comments, someone said that name some of these other, because you said we've had several Trumps.
Oh, man. So, you know where Make America Great Again came from, right?
Well, I heard it used by Reagan. I heard it used by the Klan. I heard it used by Bill Clinton.
Yeah. But I'm talking about in terms of campaign slogan, if you go look up Reagan's campaign material, all they did was just like put some white out on it and put Donald Trump's name. It's the exact same graphics, logos. It was Let's Make America Great Again. So they just took the word let's off. But if you look at like Space Force is actually the Star Wars project that Reagan was pushing.
It looks like
you can just go through Reagan's executive orders and the stuff he signed into law, like policy wise. That's why I tell people we get so into our emotions. When we're talking about race, we talk emotions and personal experience. When we talk about presidents, we talk emotions and we talk about their personal life, their wives, how we feel about their tone.
So what are you saying, that Trump is the second coming of Reagan?
I mean, Roger Stone ran both of their campaigns.
It's a great point.
Yeah, Roger Stone was in the indictment, and Roger Stone started courting. If you watch the documentary "Give Me Roger Stone" on Netflix, he talks about how he was courting Donald Trump during the Reagan administration.
I have not seen that. But back during the Reagan administration, wasn't Trump identified as a Democrat?
Well, I mean, you and I both know that Democrat, Republican doesn't really mean anything in terms of policy, right? You have oil and gas Democrats. You have Democrats that are against reparations for Black people.
True.
You have anti-migrant Democrats. Your moderate Democrat, just like Dr. King said. I mean, it's just a watered-down Republican. If we look at Reconstruction, right? The Democrats that they're always saying were the racists in the South, they were only allowed back in the Union by the Republicans that won, right? They didn't put the Black people in the South that helped in the Civil War in charge of the South. They put the Confederates that we helped them beat in charge of the South, right? And they built the Confederate monuments after the war with the help of Republicans. So, and then all of the Republicans were not against slavery. The radical Republicans were a small, tiny faction within the Republican Party. You had several variants of Republicans. Majority of them were adamantly against abolishing slavery. But people like to cherry pick history and like water stuff down to this very easy to swallow narrative that doesn't require thinking or nuance. And then we end up with stuff like the Republicans was for Black folks.
And I'm assuming, based on what you're saying, you can clearly see the hazards in going from a federal education system and getting rid of the Department of Education, you can clearly see how bad that is.
Oh, absolutely, because people won't learn any of this stuff I'm talking about now. Who was Abraham Lincoln's president? What party was he?
You said who was his president?
I mean, his vice president. I'm sorry. Who was his vice president?
Shit, I don't even know that my damn self.
Andrew Jackson that overturned.
The one who came in once he was assassinated and undid all his work.
He was a Democrat, but he ran on the same ticket with Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And so if you voted for Abraham Lincoln, there were several people running now, several parties. If you voted for Abraham Lincoln, Republican, you were also voting for his Democrat vice president at the same time. Because they were both on the union ticket. And being a unionist had a higher precedent than being a Democrat or Republican. So when we're talking about Democrats and Republicans now, AOC and a Nancy Pelosi are two different Democrats.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one's progressive and one's more of a traditional Democrat.
I wouldn't even say that. One is a socialist, literally. Dr. King was literally a socialist. You think
AOC is because I know Bernie Sanders claims to be a socialist. You think AOC is a socialist?
She's called herself a socialist. I don't think socialist is a bad word. I think white supremacy has taught us to hate anything that white people hate. America is a mixed economy, and it has both socialism and capitalism by definition. Any scholar will tell you that, right? We're not a pure capitalist system.
No, we wouldn't survive if we was. I mean, if everything was done on capitalism, we wouldn't survive. I mean, you want to dial 911 and let them itemize what they did for you. So no, I agree with that. But I mean, remember they used to say that Obama was a socialist, and I didn't see it at all.
Whistle they use. That's their way of saying the N-word without saying it out loud.
I thought that was DEI.
When white people use socialist, same with DEI, we're talking about dog whistle politics. So they use these words out of their actual context of what they mean. They use these words out of context on purpose, the same way Crips and Bloods do when they say dog and cuz.
Yeah.
When you say DEI, they don't. It does, and then we'll try to play semantics and we'll try to correct Republicans about the words that they're using. Oh, well, that word doesn't even mean that, Republican, but they know that. They're actually trying to slur black people or LGBTQ or women's rights. It's their way of discriminating against people openly with coded language, so that you can't hold them to the discriminatory things that they're actually saying.
But how do you respond? I had a caller on here earlier. How do you respond to folks who say that we needed to get rid of DEI because people who deserve to get jobs were having them passed over for folks who did not have the merit?
Well, first of all, DEI, there's no actual law called DEI. The actual law is the 64 civil rights.
The action of trying to operate under a DEI mindset is what they believe that will. You're trying to make the office diverse. You're trying to promote equity. You're trying to include.
Well, this is what I'm saying. That's the 64 Civil Rights Act. They don't want to say the words 1964 Civil Rights Act. But in order to overturn DEI, the ruling on race-based emissions, which is actually what actually happened, they were calling race-based emissions DEI. And the way that legal action was structured, like if you read the ruling that they passed the week after Juneteenth, strategically, after we got back from Juneteenth, when they overturned race-based emissions, right? Because of too many black people are getting into college and not enough Asian people, but it was actually some white men that paid for the study, and they just grabbed some random Asian people and put them on it so that they could play like Asian versus black, like white people like to do a lot, like minority versus minority, to make it not racist. And like if you look at what they did, and if you look at the bogus case that they tried, I think it was in Tennessee, where somebody hadn't even used their LLC in years and was saying they didn't get a contract because of DEI. And then, they filed a suit so it could go up to the Supreme Court. It was a bogus suit that they filed.
I haven't heard of any of this.
I mean, it's in the paper. It's just, like I say, people like dog whistle politics and people like dumbing down civic processes so that people now are arguing a point that's far removed from what's actually happening.
Yeah, here's what I don't like about the DEI stuff is that if you have a woman, if you have a person of color, especially a black person that's in a position and they fuck up. Let's say they do something that was clearly wrong for what they should have done, or didn't know their job, or they clearly seem to be, lack efficiency in what they do. People just automatically assume that's DEI. You're a fuck up, and the only reason you got this job is because you're a black or you're a woman. But if a white guy screws up on his job, like how many cops have we seen clearly not knowing what they're doing in the field, leading to somebody getting hurt or something? Nobody calls that guy DEI. Nobody says the only reason you got this job is because you're white. So I don't like because fact is sometimes employers make a bad hire. Trump will tell you his hiring of Omarosa, the black woman that was on his first administration, she was a bad hire. He would never tell you the only reason I put her in there because she's black. So I don't like the notion that an African American.
It's never happened. Nobody's ever hired someone in America simply because they were, well, with the exception of white people. White people are the only people that hire people because of their race.
I don't believe that. Now,
I mean, they're the only people that. So first of all, American race is born in 1790.
Wait a minute, you don't believe nobody got hired simply for being black? You don't think it's ever happened?
No, not at all.
That's not true. I got hired for being black. I know it happened to me. So I know it.
They didn't run a background check on you?
What?
They didn't run a background check when you got hired?
They ran a background check on me, but I got promoted to the top of the pile. I know I got hired. I know. Well, my father worked at the company as well, but the woman was hiring none but black people. I mean, I know my skin color played.
But look at what you just said. You had somebody in socially who had a social connection to pull you in, your father. Yeah. And if we look at the black people that we're calling DEI hires, I know a lot of black professionals. I've been an engineer. I've worked for Apple for 10 years. I've been in corporate 20 years. Everybody that gets in that's a so-called DEI hire, they're part of some association. They know somebody knows somebody.
I want to believe.
There is race.
You had me until you said that. I'm fairly certain that people got hired at positions simply because they're Mexican or simply because they're black. I know that happens. You
can say it was a factor, but you can't say that that's the only factor because they had to at least lie good enough to get the paperwork through. You can't hire someone based on race legally. So you could do it maybe in your mind. You can have a backroom meeting like, hey, I'm going to hire this black guy. You still got to go through the paperwork process. You still got to get vetted.
Yeah, but you could get put to the top of the pile or something like that. I mean, you can get put to the top of the pile because you're black.
I mean, so I don't want to go into the semantics of that. I personally, as a professional, as a black professional, as a member of Black Chamber of Commerce, National Society of Black Engineers, I've competed for positions in some pretty top-ranking companies, and I haven't seen someone's race be the only determining factor. Now, is there a quota where we need a certain number of black people, a certain number of Asian people? Absolutely. That doesn't mean you're getting pushed to the pile, though, because number one, we're almost saying that you don't have merit as a black person that's getting pushed to a pile, and then we're assuming that every white candidate that you're getting pushed ahead of has merit, actually has a degree.
So let me say, when we talk about the likes of Kamala Harris and Supreme Court Justice Natasha Brown, their skin color definitely played a part. You would agree with that, right? Now they had merit, but their skin color played a part in that, right?
I see, and this is why I don't like that argument, because but prior to 1964, this thing me and you were talking about doesn't exist. Majority of the time, the United States has been a country. Only one group of people could naturalize as U.S. citizens, and that is white people. And as a result, they're the only people that could go in the bank and get business loans.
Okay, I'm not arguing any of that. I'm not arguing any of that, but Biden made it clear.
I'm saying the reason these things exist is because everything financial and economic was excluded to white people.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but I'm saying that there are people nowadays that get jobs based on being black. I mean, President Biden made it clear he was going to put a woman of color in a job. So if a white dude walked in there with the same qualifications as Kamala Harris, she was going to get the one up on him because he made it clear I'm looking for a black woman.
So we count presidents. How many presidents? So how many presidents out of all the presidents that we had have got to be president because they were black? Out of all the presidents, historically to now,
none.
So we got one black president we've had, and we elected him in 2008.
Yeah.
When did Mexico elect their first black president?
I have no clue.
Their second president was black, Vicente Guerrero.
Okay, so what's your point, though?
I'm saying I think our race conversation in America is a little delusional where we
Well,
No. I'm saying as a country, I think our perspective of race, we have this concept of like a multi-ethnic, multi-directional racism that doesn't exist. And we think we keep putting the onus of racial bias on minorities that are victims of racism as though it's going back and forth in equal measure.
No, and see, I'm not doing that. I do know.
Not you personally.
Yeah, well, hold on. But I'm just where you and I disagree, though. I do by far agree that most people in this country that got a position based on skin color are white people. There's no denying they probably outnumber the other the other groups by thousands to one. But there are people in this country.
But I'm saying the definition of being an American is centered around being white. You don't get a bigger leg up than the entire government and financial system being centered around your ethnicity. You don't get a bigger leg up than that. The entire education system is framed around your history, your language, the way you talk, your dialect. You have a custom-made system that's built to lift you up as a white person. Yeah. The reason we have so-called DEI is just to give other people equity, diversity, equity. And inclusion. We're talking about equity and inclusion. We're not talking about we got to make every black person have exactly as much money as every white person. We're just saying, hey, let's start the race. Everybody got to start at the same time, at the same level.
That
I agree with people.
You get the argument there.
Yeah, I mean, you have black people competing with white people for a job, but did black people get given land in a country they're not even from 1790 to now? Did we start out as property owners? We fought in the Civil War, and the black people from the South only got to own less than 1% of the land in the South after helping our country become a country and reunite the Confederacy and the Union. We didn't benefit from that. We didn't benefit from our role in the Civil War. The land we were given by Abraham Lincoln in Charleston, South Carolina, it was confiscated from the black people, taken back. They never made us whole. The 14th Amendment had to be passed. So
I think it's safe to say that most Americans, even the ones that don't want to admit it, know that we didn't benefit probably from every war right up to Vietnam. Damn near, we didn't benefit from any. I don't think you got. Even if you don't want to admit racism, don't like talking about it, it's pretty clear that we didn't get the promotions we deserve. We didn't get the recognition. I think
the GI Bill. We got the GI Bill.
Add that in there.
House here. We went. My father's a Vietnam veteran. Black people fought in every single war that the United States has had. Again, Mexico abolished slavery in 1829 before the United States. They had a revolt led by natives and black people, which inspired us to actually do emancipation. Mexico has a woman president right now. They're not down there crying, being sensitive because a woman wants to leave them. They got a woman president right now. Mexico's like leaps and bounds ahead of us in terms of equity and actually everybody being able to have a fair chance.
But they don't have the diversity. They don't have the diversity that America has either.
They absolutely do. They have black people, they have indigenous people, they have white people.
You think Mexico is as diverse as America?
I mean, I would say in terms of
I mean, they got black people in Russia. That don't mean there's a lot of them, no.
I mean, Mexico, the Mexican flag, part of it represents their African heritage. Their second president was black. He led the revolt.
You think that Mexico is as diverse as America? Well, we got Vietnam, we got Germans, everybody from every country.
I think it's more.
Really?
What we have in America has multi-ethnic bigotry. We don't have diversity. We have multi-ethnic bigotry. I can show you on a map where the majority of America's minorities live, and they're all squeezed into concentration camps in these urban cities. 80% African Americans, almost 90% of us live in urban cities. There's entire states that don't even have black people.
What state? Wait a minute. What state has no black people?
Look up the population of states like Vermont. How many are black and how many are white? There's very little, less than maybe 5%, if that. Okay. Like there are states that almost, I'm not saying there's zero, But I'm saying statistically zero.
But you can't. But we're no longer in an era where you can blame that on the white man. If you're a black person, you want to live in Vermont, you can.
Oh, you can blame. You know what? You can logically blame it on the white man based on racial gerrymandering. I'm in Louisiana. We just won a lawsuit against.
Hold on, wait a minute, hold on. You're telling me right now in 2025, if a black man wanted to live in Vermont, he cannot do that?
You're saying a black man, and we're talking about entire populations, an entire population of black people.
Well, that's not going to happen. You're not going to have 3,000 black people saying, "Let's all move to Vermont right now." I'm just simply saying
that's actually happening though. That's happening in Texas. You would have had a better point if you just said Texas. Texas has the highest inward migration of African Americans in the United States.
So let's say, for instance, hold on. Let's say, for instance, Tyler Perry, the guy who has the movie studio in Atlanta, he decided to open up a studio in Vermont, and all of a sudden, bunches of black folks started flocking to Vermont. You telling me they wouldn't be allowed to live there? Meech, did I lose you? All right, apparently I lost my caller. I got to move it on there. Don't know what happened. He froze or something happened, but look, I'm not denying what he's saying. I just, me and him have a difference of opinion on of how modern it is. I think that you can kind of migrate around now if you're African American. That is, he's right. Most people of color live in the urban population centers, but there's not a lot stopping you from moving to the suburbs or rural areas if you're black. If you got enough money, you want to buy a house out in the middle of nowhere, ain't nobody stopping you from doing that. That's where I tend to disagree with him, disagree there. And I agree with you, Be Easy, where he says Vermont is super liberal. That is true. Vermont is a very liberal state. I don't think that there are states where no black people live, but I don't think it has anything to do with other than a lot of blacks don't want to live there. I don't think nobody's stopping them. Now, when he said you can blame it on the white man, yeah, if you go back to the 60s and 70s and beyond, that's the reason it got that way. But in current times, nobody's stopping you from living there. I mean, if, you could go meet a white girl and move in with her in Vermont like that. So I got to disagree on that. If you want to buy your own place, you could do it. I mean, you can buy, if you're an African American and you got enough money to buy a house and you want to live in Vermont, I don't see what's stopping you. Looking in the comments, he's right about Mexico, but in certain areas, yeah. Mexico being more diverse than the United States. So if I'm in Mexico and I feel like having some Vietnam cuisine, there are places in Mexico I can get that. Italian cuisine, all of them folks live in Mexico. I stand corrected. I've never heard that Mexico is as diverse as the United States. I can't disagree because I'll plead ignorance on that. I've never heard that. I've never heard that Mexico is that diverse, though. I'm learning something. I've never heard that before. And that's what I like, having open dialogue. I don't know all the damn answers, so folks can sometimes. I'd have to look it up on the computer and see what comes up. I've never heard that Mexico was that diverse, though. That's the first I've heard that. Mexico is led by a woman that is pro reparations to black and indigenous slaves. That's probably, if it ever happens in America, that's probably how it's going to happen, is via a woman here too. That's probably, because when you look at the division in races and you look at the history of aggression towards each other, it's usually dudes. Even during the era of slavery and things like that, the women, there were some bad bitches out there, but it was mostly dudes. Even when you look at controversial police shootings and beatings and things, how often does it involve a woman? And you would assume, like somebody that's my size, 6'6", 300 pounds, you would assume that a woman would be more fearful and trigger happy towards me than a dude, because I'm much stronger and bigger than most women, and you would assume they would be the ones that would be scared first. It's almost always a dude. So I would tend to think that if for some reason, something like when he's talking about reparations, it would be a woman. It's probably going to be a woman that would do something like that, because women have in my opinion, the unity, the lower temperament, the less aggressive stuff. I think it would come more from a woman. Like, I can't imagine having a female politician that's going around saying "fuck your feelings" to people. That probably ain't something a female would do. That's something from a man. Looking in the comments, I wanted to roll a clip by because folks was talking about the genealogy thing, and I haven't heard it. But while we were chatting with a few of my callers, I did go on YouTube and I looked up a couple clips. So I'm curious to see if what I find is going to be on par with what I was told. I haven't heard any of this stuff. So this is going to be me listening to it for the first time. So let me see if I can get my audio going. This is actually a Trump with Oprah Winfrey, looks like. I don't think there's any audio to this clip, or maybe not. Let me see here.
Come and stand by your building and
Okay.
think. For all the people out there who want to touch you, who come and stand by your building and thinking perhaps maybe the luck will run off. All the people who are reading Art of the Deal, hoping to find some answer that will satisfy their own desire for success. Are you just a phenomenon? Is it possible for everybody to be what you've become?
No, it's not, but it's possible for a lot of people to become successful and even very successful. I mean, you have to be given, and this is where luck comes in. You have to be born lucky in the sense that you have to have the right genes to go out, and if it's in my business, if it's making deals, if it's to become Jack Nicklaus or Chris Everett or Martina. Or
Let me ask you this.
You have to have a certain gene.
Do you think you would have done this if you'd been born in the ghetto someplace? If you'd started out with zip?
I would like to think that I would have been successful. I mean, it's better starting out. I had a father who was in the real estate business in Brooklyn and Queens, and I had a little base, and I have a wonderful father, and I learned a lot from him. So I had a certain, I had an advantage. I'd like to think that I would have been successful, whether it was owning a chain of stores or even owning a store or doing something. I think I would have been successful. I've often thought about that. If I started out with a lot less, where would I be? And I think, I'd like to say proportionately I'd be as successmesuccessful, but who knows, really?
Hi, YouTubers. I'm excited.
I don't see anything harmful there. I just wanted to play a couple clips. He mentioned the word gene, but it could be taken a million different ways. I didn't see anything he said that was harmful there. And here's another quick clip by
winning is tough. I always said winning is somewhat maybe innate. Maybe it's just something you have. You have the winning gene. My uncle was a great professor and scientist and engineer, Dr. John Trump at MIT. Good genes, very good genes, okay?
One of the smartest people in the history of MIT, in my blood.
If you believe in genes, some do, some don't. But I had an uncle who was a professor at MIT. Believe me, if it's good genes, we believe in genes, right? We're allowed to say that. Do we believe in the gene thing? I do, right? I do. Like they used to say, Secretariat doesn't produce slow horses. A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe? The racehorse.
Now, they played a bunch of clips. Obviously, he said the word. He's talking about good genes a lot. Wow, this one here, I'm going to take it down the road of plausible deniability. I'm not going to say what he's saying is automatically eluding the white supremacy or racism, but I can see where somebody would hear dog whistles of that in this. I'm going to give him plausible deniability, but he is talking about genes over and over again. And obviously, the racehorse theory did count. Yeah, the racehorse theory is certainly that. When you start, he is making it sound like something is in him in terms of genes that is maybe non-existent in other people. Now, like I said, I'm going to give him plausible deniability, but I can see how somebody might hear this and think that it's a dog whistle. I can certainly see where that would come from.
Source theory, you think we're so different? Your brother is in the NHL, right? Tell me about genes. Is he a good player? When you have 111 wins, that's in your blood, right? It's got to be in the blood. You said you're 90 years old? That's great, because you have good genes. Good genes.
And that was a Native American he was talking to there.
Genes. You have good genes. Good genes. You believe in genes? It's got good genes.
I got to give him plausible deniability. It just sounds like something he says. I'm not going to chalk that. Trump says a lot of things that I don't favor. That I don't see. It just sounds like that's the way he talks. I'm going to give him deniability on that. Like I said, I can understand why if somebody heard it once or twice, they may hear a dog whistle in that, but it just sounds like something he says. Blacks are great at sports. Yeah. And well, I don't know if you folks are old enough to remember Jimmy the Greek, but he gave a theory on why blacks are great at sports, and he ended up getting in trouble. And that was that during the era of slavery, blacks were bred to be bigger and stronger so that they could be more productive in the fields. and that the black race has carried those genes down the line with them. I mean, you want somebody that's going to be strong in the field or whatever job they're doing. You want them to, you want them to be. So when you breed, you pick the biggest one, just like you mentioned in the racehorse thing, where you're going to pick a fast racing horse to breed, and people think that the offspring of that horse is likely to win races. So you wouldn't breed with Danny DeVito, would you? Or Gary Coleman. So that's what it does sound like that, but I'm not gonna go beyond plausible deniability. Like I said, I can see where somebody might hear a dog whistle in it, but I'll give them a slight pass on that. Looking in the comments, oh, do you need good genes to be to bankrupt a casino? I can agree with him also in saying that even if he didn't get the head start he has gotten, he might still be successful. Maybe he would own a line of, laundromats or something like that. He wouldn't be a huge real estate tycoon, but he still might be a entry-level millionaire. Some people just have it in them. That's what the genes thing he's talking about. I mean, there is a hell of a lot of folks that are on the corner dealing street pharmaceuticals. And you look at that person and like, if you had got into the corporate world and remained legal, you'd have probably went somewhere. You know how to run an outfit. You got several folks working for you. You're able to pick the best talent. I mean, you're just doing it against the law, but you have everything it takes. I mean, sometimes you can see that in people. So maybe that's what he means by genes. I'll leave it at that. What does that say? I mean, that's why Polynesians are so big throughout centuries of war and sailing the oceans. Only the strongest survive. Yeah, but you're talking about something that happened through natural occurrence, whereas African Americans were deliberately bred to be big and strong. If you're out walking across the Sahara and you develop a different muscle structure in your legs because you're out, that's one thing. But we're talking about people that are deliberately breeding you a certain way because they need you to work for them. So that's not natural. That's a little bit different. And I believe there's some validity to that. I do, because when you look at what African Americans do in sports, they do tend to dominate most of the sports they play. I can see there's some possibility being in it, but I'm no physician. I don't, it's above my grade, but I'm just going to say based on what I see, I believe it's possible. We know they were breeding them to be big and strong. We know that was happening. Have you been to Nigeria? Strong people. No, I have not, but they were also, didn't the English own them for a long time? So they weren't exactly a free people the whole time either. Whoever said that. No, I have not been to Nigeria, but they were not free the whole time either. In fact, the Great Britain or the UK just let them become free, maybe 60s? If I'm correct, I don't think they were. I think the Great Britain owned them for quite a while. The only reason Trump isn't in handcuffs is because his hands are so small they would just fall off. Oh my God. He's the greatest con man in history. Honesty, it's impressive. Props to him. All right, we'll leave it at that. Anyway, I have a taste for a Trump steak. A lot of anti-Trump people ain't here this time of night. Anyway, folks, you guys know what I got to do. I got to get up early in the morning to go to my day job. I appreciate I think it's 80. Did I get 80,000 on the likes? Thank you, folks, to tap the screen. Certainly, I'm going to ask you to do what I always ask you to do around this time. Follow the program if you enjoy this type of open dialogue from all sides of the aisle. Feel free to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, if you're on Instagram or TikTok. Give your boy a follow. And until then, you guys have a good night. I will see you guys tomorrow. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. Good night. And I got to turn these things off one by one. Is that how we do it?